Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Red Friday. We have made it to the end of the week. We've got lots of football to discuss. Another monster primetime game for the Kansas City Chiefs to preview. And we've got you covered for the next 3 hours here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com. And on our live stream video, our YouTube channel is 580 Sports Talk. Our Facebook page is WIBW News. However, wherever, whenever you're catching the program today, thanks for being a part of the audience. We appreciate you checking out 580 Sports Talk. Got a jam-packed show for you today here over the next 3 hours. K-State, KU, both underdogs tomorrow. We're going to talk about those games. Kansas City Chiefs football, Sunday night. Not an underdog against the Detroit Lions, despite how many people, including many Chiefs fans, are talking about the Chiefs' chances on Sunday. We will break it all down here on the program on this Friday. I am Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis and Brendan Dworzinski will be along in a bit. It's a big night here on 580 WIBW. We got 3 hours of sports talk, and then we segue into our 580 Preps Game of the Week coverage. The 580 Preps Coaches Club starting just after 6 o'clock. You'll hear from the city's head football coaches as we get set for week 6 of high school football action. And then our 580 Preps Game of the Week tonight, a 7 o'clock kickoff from Don Pierce Field at Seaman Stadium as the Seaman Vikings host the Shawnee Heights Thunderbirds. Yours truly on the play-by-play with Greg Akagi alongside and Spencer Dupuis down on the sideline. Hope you'll join us for that. High school football scoreboard show from the Kansas Information Network follows that as well. So it is a lot of sports, a lot of football coming your way here tonight on the Sports Voice of Kansas. But before we get to all that, we got 3 hours of sports talk, and it is a Red Friday. Chiefs-Lions on Sunday night. So it being a Red Friday, you know how we get down on the program. We've got our keys to the game. We got our big Chief picks, and we have our predictions for Sunday night. We'll also talk to our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. He's going to join us at the bottom of this hour, as he does every Friday on the program. Matt will help us break down Chiefs-Lions, give his thoughts, his insight as to what the Chiefs must do to avoid a 2-4 start, get back to 500, and win at home on this Sunday night. We'll also talk some college football, as I mentioned. Kansas and Kansas State, both in action in the Big 12 tomorrow, and both teams are underdogs. K-State, a 2-point home dog to TCU. KU is a 14.5-point underdog to Texas Tech. We'll ask one big question about both of those games that could determine whether or not the underdogs can pull up upsets representing the Sunflower State. We'll also continue our 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest. That's coming up, week number 7 of the Picks Contest. One of us is finally in the black. One of us has a winning record. It isn't me. It's definitely not me. I've had a rough go. I've had some bad luck. Honest to goodness. I've just run into some bad luck. I've made good picks. The players have played bad. That's what's happening. My picks are great. My picks are infallible. The players aren't playing as well as they should at the end of the day when I pick them. We'll try to get myself back on track a little bit. Spencer will try to stay hot. We got our 580 Sports Talk picks. That's coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Plus our typical Friday shenanigans. We got 580 Sports Talk headlines coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. We've got a What is Wrong with You coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We will crown a weekly champion for this week in October. On second thought, change my mind, all that good stuff. We're going to give away some K-State tickets today. K-State's at home against TCU, and I've got a family 4-pack of tickets that I'm going to give away to that game. So be listening for your cue to call. We'll give away tickets to see the Cats and the Frogs. Cats and Frogs living together, mass hysteria. 2:30, the kickoff tomorrow. If you don't win the tickets, you can't make it out, you can't catch it on TV, you know we've got it for you right here on your home for the Wildcats, the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, 12:30 p.m. pregame tomorrow. ahead of that 2:30 kickoff at the Bill. So be listening for your cue to call on that. Speaking of cues, it's another day of our fall cash contest, 580wibw.com. You go to our website, you click the contest link, it prompts you to enter a keyword. Every hour we give you a new keyword. You enter the keyword, you enter your info, you are registered for a chance to win $2,000. We gave away $2,000 yesterday. We've given away $2,000 every weekday this week. We're giving away $2,000 again today. Then we're going to do it all again next week. But you've got to have the keywords. And again, the more often you enter, the better your chances are. So this hour's keyword, 3 o'clock on this Friday, October 10th. The keyword for this hour to enter at 580wibw.com is costume. Costume. C-O-S-T-U-M-E. Costume. That is your keyword. C-O-S-T-U-M-E. Costume. Enter that keyword at 580wibw.com for your chance to win $2,000 today. It's our fall cash contest at 580wibw.com. Want to hear from you throughout the program today. Your predictions for Chiefs Lions, for Cats Frogs, for Jayhawks Red Raiders, for anything else going on this weekend. Questions, comments, concerns, grocery lists. Hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429. You can also holler at us in the YouTube chat. We are live on YouTube. The name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to that YouTube channel, by the way. Help us get closer to our next stretch goal of subscribers. At 900 subscribers, we're doing 580 Sports Talk karaoke, but it can't happen until we get to 826. Who's going to be 826? Who's the hero out there today listening that has yet to subscribe to the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel? No day like today to go smash that subscribe button or just tap it on your phone. That's fine. You don't have to smash anything. But either way, doesn't cost you anything but that click, and it gets us closer to that stretch goal. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you are watching the show on YouTube today, hop in that chat and say hello. There's a live chat that runs throughout the live version of the program and interact with your hosts and your fellow listeners throughout the program. Both Marks are in today. Mark B, Mark H, hello. You don't have to be named Mark to be part of the chat, but we've got a lot of Marks in the chat. Andrew is also in the chat. Vance, hello. Good to see you. Hope one of you guys wins the $2,000. That would be great. Do not text me the keyword. Somebody on the text line just texted the keyword. Do not text the keyword. That doesn't do you any good. You can if you want. I'm just telling you that's not going to help you win. You got to go to 580wibw.com, click that contest tab at the top of the page, and that's where you'll be prompted to enter the keyword, which is, again, costume. So, text line's open, YouTube chat's open. Let's talk some football, shall we? Let's talk some Chiefs football on this Red Friday. It's the Chiefs. It's the Lions. The Chiefs are healthy. There are no injury designations for Sunday night. Xavier Worthy's missed practice yesterday, just precautionary, just a rest day. He was a full go today. Sounds like there are no limitations on him. He should be ready to go for Sunday night. That is emphatically not the case for the Detroit Lions. They have already ruled 4 players out for Sunday night. They have ruled out Sione Vaki, special teams running back. That's not the biggest deal in the world. Alim McNeil, defensive tackle, he's not going to play. Linebacker Zach Cunningham, he's not going to play. Cornerback Terrion Arnold, he is out for Sunday. 6 players listed as questionable. Linebacker Giovanni Manu with a knee injury. Khalif Raymond, wide receiver, with a neck injury. Taylor Decker didn't practice all week. He's questionable with a shoulder injury. He's been really good this year. They are more optimistic about Decker being able to go from what it sounds like from Dan Campbell's press availability earlier today. They're more optimistic about Decker than the next 3 names I'm going to read, and all of them play in the Lions secondary. Cornerback Avonte Maddox, questionable with a hamstring. Safety Brian Branch, questionable with an ankle. Safety Kirby Joseph, who did not practice all week, questionable with a knee injury. That is a secondary that is already dinged up, and its Rakestraw has already been lost for the season. It's a bit of a skeleton crew as is, and they might be without both halves of one of the best safety duos in the NFL. Based on the injuries, you'd rather be in the Chiefs situation than the Lions situation entering Sunday night's game. And Vegas, for what it's worth, agrees. The Chiefs opened as favorites, and they've stayed favorites all week. Hasn't been any wavering, hasn't been any big action on the Lions to cover the line. So as it stands right now, per the Prairie Band Sportsbook up at Prairie Band Casino and Resort, the line has come back a little bit towards Detroit today. It's now 1.5. It was sat at 2.5 most of the week. It has moved today towards the Lions, even with that injury report. The positive one for the Chiefs, the negative one for the Lions. The line has come back a point towards Detroit. So it is the Chiefs favored by 1.5. And again, you figure the home team gets 3, typically just kind of on balance. So what that tells you is that Vegas thinks that there's a slight lean in terms of just raw advantage towards the Lions, but that home field should help the Chiefs. And I think that's a reasonable way to approach this. For the record, when Patrick Mahomes is a favorite of less than a field goal in his career, 17-7-1 against the spread. Saw that on ESPN.com today. Mahomes is really good in these toss-up games because he's Patrick Mahomes. And he's used to being the difference in these toss-up games. But as we have talked about, coming out of Monday and really throughout the week, Patrick Mahomes hasn't had a chance, a realistic chance, to be the difference in these toss-up games, and it's why the Chiefs have lost all 3 of their one-score games so far this season, because the first 2 of them saw Patrick Mahomes watching the other team's quarterback kneel out the clock at the 2-minute warning, and Monday's game ended with the Chiefs not getting the ball back until there were 16 seconds remaining in the game at their own 17-yard line following a penalty on the kick return. So it would certainly be nice if this game gets down to the marrow for number 15 for the Chiefs being the quarterback on the field that's deciding whether the Chiefs win or lose. And engineering the game towards that outcome ought to be top of mind for Andy Reid and company as the Lions come to town. Without further ado, let's get into our keys to this game. And I think for me, looking at the injury situation, even if some of those guys make it to Sunday, even if Kirby Joseph, who didn't practice all week, can go, even if Brian Branch, who was limited all week, can go, hard to imagine those guys are going to be at their absolute best, which is a break for the Chiefs because those guys at their absolute best are studs. Honest to goodness, I don't think there's a better safety duo in the league. I really don't. It's already not a great cornerback situation for the Lions. That's been exacerbated by the loss of Arnold and the potential absence of Maddox this week. The corners aren't real good. The safeties are either going to be banged up and playing or backups. I say that to say there's going to be some plays to be made through the air for the Chiefs. But how do you make sure you make them? Key number 1 for me, you got to battle Aiden Hutchinson to a draw. You're not going to shut him out. You're not going to keep him from making an impact on the game. He is one of those true game wreckers. He is back to full form after that awful broken leg last season. He's got 5 sacks in 5 games for the Lions, 5 of the 16 sacks that the Lions have tallied through 5 games. Andy Reid is loath to adjust his strategy for a pass rusher, for an elite pass rusher. He's loath to keep a back end to chip or a tight end into chip. He trusts his tackles, whether he should or not, to win one-on-one on the edge. Do you know who is a top 20 offensive tackle this season when it comes to pass block win rate, according to ESPN's stat tracking? Winning 91% of his pass block reps one-on-one this season? That would be Juwan Taylor. You thought I was going to say Josh Simmons, didn't you? Simmons has been good. Juwan Taylor's been very good when he hasn't been committing drive-killing penalties. We kind of talked about this a few weeks ago, and that was when the Chiefs were 0-2, and you didn't really want to hear it, and I understand. And maybe you still don't want to hear it because they're 2-3. But last 2 weeks, no penalties for Juwan Taylor. At least no drive-killing penalties. The penalty last week, they ended up calling on him, but that really wasn't his fault. Somebody else was lined up inappropriately that made Taylor in illegal alignment. So that one, a little bit tough on Juwan Taylor, for sure. But no holding penalties, no pre-snap false starts, nothing like that for Juwan Taylor the last 2 weeks. And oh yeah, the Chiefs offensive line last week did not allow a sack to the Jaguars defense. It's a group that's playing really, really well right now and getting better with that youth on the left side. It's going to have a chance again to keep Mahomes upright on Sunday. Hutchinson is good enough to blow up those plans all by himself. So the Hutchinson versus Taylor matchup is critical in this game. If Taylor shuts out Hutchinson, I think the Chiefs probably win. He's going to give, though, as good as he gets. That's how good Hutchinson is. But as long as the Chiefs don't let him totally wreck the game, they're going to have a good chance, I think, to move the ball through the air against an injury-riddled Lions secondary. How do you keep him from wrecking the game? The Chiefs have always had a really good plan against Nick Bosa of the 49ers. Every time they play the Niners, they have a really good plan for Nick Bosa. And it seems counterproductive to take plays in his direction, but they run a lot of motion in his direction. They run a lot of jet sweeps in his direction when he's inclined to try and come downhill and run himself out of a play a little bit. They've always had a good plan for certain elite edge rushers. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to give Hutchinson the Bosa treatment on Sunday night. It'll be a tough draw, and there's certainly a chance that we're back on Monday and Hutchinson is the story because he had 2.5 sacks and a forced fumble and wrecked the game. He's that kind of player. But for the Chiefs to win on Sunday, they got to keep him from doing that. That is job one. Because if they do, I think that enhances the Chiefs' chances to win because there are going to be plays to be made in the passing game. And that goes along with my second key to the game, which is, and goes back to what we talked about on yesterday's show. Be aggressive. I don't want to see a punt from plus territory on Sunday night unless it's 4th down and 48 from the Detroit 49. Okay, I want to see this offense go for it on 4th down. I want to see this offense strive to score. I don't want to play the field position game. I don't want to say, well, yeah, our defense will slow down that Detroit offense. I don't want that. I want the ball in 15's hands. I want 15 deciding the game because Mahomes is playing so exceptionally well right now. You've got to take advantage of that. You got to take advantage of this flow state the offense has been in really for their last 5 halves. And you've got to go for it when you've got good opportunities to sustain drives, when you're in plus territory. Don't leave this game on Harrison Butker's foot. What about the first 5 games suggest that that's a good idea? Go let Patrick Mahomes win this football game against a depleted secondary, against a team that, look, Hutch is great. He's also the only elite pass rusher on this team. This is not like a healthy Philadelphia Eagles defensive front, right, where they're just coming from all over. It's Hutch, and he's awesome. But they don't have elite guys or even like second-tier guys other than that. So I think you've got to put this game in Patrick Mahomes' hands and really be aggressive on offense for the Chiefs to win. Brendan's keys to the game, he mentions turnovers, and I do think that this is going to be pretty important that the Chiefs defense force at least one turnover, get a short field, steal a possession away from Detroit. They forced 2 turnovers last week, should have been a third, but Tranquil and Bolton couldn't decide who should have that tipped ball interception. Lions don't typically turn the ball over, right? Like that's a team that their stock and trade is they take very good care of the ball. So far this season, in their 5 games, the Lions have committed just 3 turnovers. They have committed a turnover in each of their last 2 games, 2 interceptions by Jared Goff, 1 lost fumble. The Chiefs' defense needs to get off the field because the Lions have been running up the big scores on everybody, 34 plus in each of their last 4 games. Best way to make an impact defensively, flip the game, win those close games, win the turnover battle. Chiefs had been 34-0 in their previous 34 games when winning the turnover battle before Monday night's loss. Tells you that much more often than not, that's going to swing a game in their favor if they win the turnover battle. The other thing, and I love how Brendan phrased this in the show notes, don't waste snaps on goofy crap or players who aren't moving the needle. Let the best quarterback in the league make plays for you. Yeah, I think you can just keep it real simple if you're the Chiefs offensively. Just put 15 in position to go win it. No matter what you got to do to make that happen, make that happen. Let him do his thing as he continues to burnish his case for a third MVP. Spencer's keys to the game. He'd like to see the Chiefs get the running game going again. A couple of chunk run plays to really soften the defense would be critical. Lions have been good on defense this season. We've mentioned that. They are 7th in the league in rush yards allowed, 11th in the league in yards per attempt allowed. So it's a solid run defense. But a couple of splash plays, or at least just a high success rate on the ground, enables the Chiefs to keep the offense on the field longer. And if I'm the Chiefs, I don't think this is a game where you turtle up and you say, oh, we've got to limit the number of possessions. We've got to play like the underdogs. You are not, by definition, the underdogs. Vegas has you the favorites. Don't play like underdogs, but do utilize the run to put yourself in beneficial second and third down situations and to convert some of those short third downs as well. And even a short fourth down or two. But again, don't need to get exotic with it. Keep the T formation in your hip pocket. Save that for another day. And the other thing that Spencer would like to see, and I think a lot of you are in alignment here, like to see more Noel Williams defensively. Detroit this season has 3 wide receivers who've already gone over 200 yards. One of them is their tight end, Sam Laporta. But Amon-Ra St. Brown's got 407 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns already. Jamison Williams is 11 for 223. If Khalif Raymond doesn't play, their third wide receiver is probably Isaac Tesla. They do like to run some 2 tight end stuff. But I say all that to say this. If they're going to go 3 wide receivers, Shamari Connor's not the guy you want in the slot. And he's certainly not the guy that you want in the slot in a critical situation. More Noel Williams on the outside, because I think you do need to be physical with these Lions wide receivers. Theirs is such a timing offense. How do you upset timing? Little Hadouken to the chest, right? Little, what do you call it? The heel of the hand right to the sternum off the snap. That's legal. That's allowed. You got a little buffer zone. And Noel Williams is the most physical of the Chiefs corners. I think that physicality is something the Chiefs need to introduce in this game, and Noel Williams can bring that. We know he can, even in his small sample size to begin his career. So those are our keys to the game. Who do we think's winning coming up on Sunday? Who do we think is covering the spread? What do we think of the total? Who are our big Chiefs? We'll tell you next. We want to hear yours. 785-272-9429 on the text line and in the YouTube chat. Matt Derrick's going to join us, give us his in just a little while. We're big on the Chiefs in hour number 1. We've got so much more to get to. We're so glad you're with us on this Red Football Friday on 580 Sports Talk. Couple of predictions in on the YouTube chat for Sunday night's Chiefs-Lions affair. Mark H. going with the Chiefs by a touchdown, 35-28. Andrew says, come down to being able to stop the run. If you can do that, you can limit the Lions' play action opportunities. If they don't, he thinks the Lions win a very high-scoring game, 42-37. It's a big total for an NFL game in this one, 52.5 at Prairie Band Sportsbook. And by the way, I mentioned at the start of the last segment, the Chiefs were 1.5-point favorites. They are now back to being 2.5-point favorites. That's how fast things can move in Vegas. But that's about where the line is sat all week, 2.5. Maybe you've seen it 1.5. Maybe you got it 3 somewhere. But the number is 2.5 right now. So that's the number we'll use as we make our predictions. For the record, Brendan and Spencer are both 3-2, picking straight up this season. I am 2-3. I am also bringing up the rear, picking against the spread. I'm 2-3, picking the Chiefs games against the spread this year. Brendan is 4-1, had the Jags covering last week. He was the only one of us. Spencer 3-2 against the spread. Spencer is right now leading in terms of picking games to the total. He's 4-1 to the total. Brendan and I are 3-2. I still have the most big Chief points, but Brendan and Spencer each got a point last week. Spencer had Tyquan Thornton, who led the team in receiving yards. Brendan picked George Karlaftis, who was impactful, had a sack in the loss. So, with all that in mind, and the Chiefs favored by 2.5 points and the total 52.5, who have we got this week? Brendan is picking the Lions. And look, I don't blame him. We'll get his thoughts on it. He's going to come in. He'll have a chance to defend himself. But Brendan's picking the Lions 35-31, so he's going over the total. His big Chief for the week is Tyquan Thornton. Spencer is on the Chiefs to cover and win 27-24. That has him under the total. He's the only one of us going with the under, spoiler alert. Drew Tranquil is his pick. I think it's an interesting pick, especially back to what listener Andrew was saying in the YouTube comments about the play action game the Lions like to run. Linebackers in coverage are going to be critical in this game. I will be interested to see how often the Chiefs play their base package, how often the Lions force them into a base package by playing 2 tight ends, or do they go 3 wide and play a lot of Isaac Tesla because they're, outside of St. Brown and Williams, their third guy typically is Khalif Raymond. He may not go. So if he doesn't go, does that mean more 2 tight end stuff? And that would allow the Chiefs to play their base defense. You'd see a lot more Tranquil in that scenario. But that's Spencer's big Chief pick. I'm hedging a little bit here. I think the Lions can win this game, and I do have concerns about the matchup for the Chiefs. But I have more concerns about the Lions secondary. And I like what I'm seeing from the Chiefs offensive line. I think they're going to give Mahomes enough time to have a big game against this secondary. The kind of big game that the quarterbacks that the Lions have been seeing the last couple of weeks just aren't capable of having against them. I think both teams get into the 30s. Chiefs 31, Lions 30. So I am taking the Chiefs to win, but I am taking the Lions to cover. It's a bit of a hedge. What are you going to do? My big Chief is Hollywood Brown. I think that we could see Hollywood have a big game. The 2 wide receivers picked for big Chief. Neither of them are Xavier Worthy, who sounds like he's going to have no restrictions for Sunday. We may come around to regret that, but I think that the deeper you get into some teams' cornerback depth chart, the more opportunities there are going to be for your wide receiver 2, your wide receiver 3, whoever lines up in the slot, whoever lines up opposite your wide receiver 1 to have really big games. And Hollywood Brown has gotten a lot of targets early on this season. So I think he'll be in line for a standout performance. But those are the picks. Brendan's got the Lions winning. Spencer has the Chiefs winning and covering. I have the Chiefs winning and the Lions covering. So we can contain multitudes here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt Derrick joins us next on the program. Our Chiefs Insider coming up. We go to Kansas City and our Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline, as he does every Friday at this time. Matt, it is so strange to be watching a Kansas City Chiefs team not make what Patrick Mahomes termed winning plays. That was the case again Monday night for the want of one more winning play from a defense that came up with a lot of them last year when the Chiefs were 12-0 in one-score games. Maybe that's a different outcome, but instead it was Jacksonville that made the winning play. From Trevor Lawrence's wallet, he makes a winning play from his backside, and the Chiefs left to rue a loss that I think probably has to rank with one of the more frustrating losses for the Chiefs in recent regular season memory.
Yeah, I just completely agree with you. I mean, the Chiefs take the lead in the last 2 minutes of the game, and I can't even remember the last time that the Chiefs did that and then lost the game. And I was in a text conversation with a couple of my colleagues in a thread, and it's like everyone, they just a couple of times called the game over. And I'm like, have you guys just never watched a Chiefs game before? And I said that again with 25 seconds left. It's like, like that's plenty of time for Patrick Mahomes to get this team in the field goal range. And the crazy thing is, and we haven't really talked about that too much, if Patrick Mahomes pulls the trigger maybe a half second later, or Hollywood Brown turns his head around a half second sooner and hauls in that catch late in the game, there was room for him to run. He might have easily gotten them in the field goal range or even more. So it wasn't really that far off from the Chiefs maybe making a spectacular play like they did against Buffalo. It was there, but it is frustrating because the offense played well enough to win. The defense played well enough to win. Special teams certainly did not play well enough to win. And I think we've talked about this before, in close games, it usually comes down to like 5 or 6 plays that are 50-50 plays. And which way do they go? In this game, they all went Jacksonville's way.
Outside of the inability to make the winning plays, we'll say it again. We could have kept a counter how many times we said that this week after we heard Mahomes say it in his post-game remarks and also in his Wednesday remarks. Other than that, what are you most concerned about with the Chiefs right now?
I mean, I still think that the problems in the run game are going to catch up with them at some point, and maybe they already are. I mean, maybe against Jacksonville, there might have been a couple of runs that gave you some optimism that maybe masked some of the problems. Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco combined for 2 runs for a total of 49 yards. Their other 12 runs for 36 yards. That's not consistent play. That's not going to get you first downs. So, I mean, I still think that run game is still what's going to hamper the Chiefs. And again, there's a theme to this. 3 times this year that Patrick Mahomes has been their leading rusher, and they lost all 3 of those games. They got to find a way to run the football at some point. And the fact that they're not doing it behind this offensive line, which seems to be playing pretty well right now, and has a couple of guys certainly that you think are good run blockers, the fact that the Chiefs can't run the ball consistently outside of more than maybe for a couple of yards in short yardage situations, it's a concern to me.
Matt Derrick is our Chiefs insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt covers Chiefs at ChiefsDigest.com, joins us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. It's another big primetime game for the Kansas City Chiefs. They've got the Detroit Lions coming to town on Sunday night at Arrowhead Stadium. Let's deep dive into this matchup. The offense for the Lions has been red hot since they kind of laid an egg in their opener against the Packers. 4 straight games of 34 or more points, including a season high of 52. They do not seem to have missed a beat despite the departure of their offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. What, in your mind, is the toughest part of this matchup for the Chiefs defense, and who is most important, or who are the most important players on the Chiefs defense to try and put a stick in the Lions' bicycle spokes on Sunday night?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing because, Steve Spagnuolo was asked this week about game breakers and, how you circle them on the roster. And I think he said, they had like 6, 7, 8 guys that were in red because that's how they mark them. I mean, who do you stop? Do you try to stop the run? Do you try and stop the pass? Because, I mean, this team's good at both of them. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Now, they've got some injuries, too, amongst their receivers that we'll see if those play out because, St. Brown has been dinged up, Sam Laporta, Khalif Raymond, although not a huge part of their offense, he's a big part of their special teams. But that running back monster, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, pick your poison. I mean, right now, I'll be honest, Dan, I mean, both those guys are better than any running back the Chiefs have. So that's a problem. I mean, if you're Steve Spagnuolo, I think you simply trust that your run defense is going to be able to take care of things and not allow this team to beat you. But it's how do you defend in the secondary? Do you focus on getting after Jared Goff and putting the pressure on him and blitzing and leaving your guys in a lot of one-on-one situations? Do you play a little bit more zone in this game to take advantage of maybe some of your height in the secondary and try and keep a guy like Trent McDuffie, protect him so that he's maybe playing closer to the line of scrimmage and doesn't get caught in some downfield situations? I don't know. I mean, it's a pick your poison because there's multiple different ways that the Lions can beat you offensively.
Will we see more Noel Williams on Sunday night? It was kind of glaring. He only played 4 snaps on Monday night after how well he had played, even in spot duty in previous weeks. And the end result of him not being out there was that it was Jamari Conner in coverage in the slot on the most important play of the game, and he committed the pass interference penalty in the end zone. Do you think in this matchup where you've got a lot of speed but not a lot of physicality at receiver for the Lions, that maybe this is a game where if you're going to play some man, you want your most physical man corner playing a little bit more often on Sunday?
Yeah, and Steve Spagnuolo kind of let out the reasoning, and you hit on it there, which is that you're primarily only going to see Noel Williams when they go to 3 cornerback sets, and that's going to mean that Trent McDuffie is in the slot. They didn't do a lot of that against Jacksonville. It varies from opponent to opponent to what they want to do. I think we might see a little bit more of Noel Williams this week because one of the things I think you have to be concerned about are some of these big receiving threats that the Lions have deep downfield. And that is Trent McDuffie's weakness. Guarding guys who are significantly bigger than him downfield, jump balls against him, that's his toughest play. Whereas Noel Williams has got, maybe 3-4 inches on Trent McDuffie, and he is a very physical corner. And that's been one of his skills, has been challenging some big guys and being able to play with them and deny them the football, or at least, make teams think about going the other way. Teams have challenged him. There's no doubt. And so far he's held up. But that's kind of where you want Noel Williams. And in games like this, where you do have some big receivers that can go downfield, you don't want Trent McDuffie in that spot. So maybe you do want him a little bit more in the slot. Maybe you certainly probably want him playing at least a little bit of zone, so you can kind of control where Trent McDuffie is and control kind of the area which he's patrolling and who he's going up against.
Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, joining us here on 580 Sports Talk. Check out Matt's work at ChiefsDigest.com. On offense, it struck me, I'm starting to feel the last couple of weeks watching the Chiefs a way I haven't felt in a handful of years watching the Chiefs, which is to feel like as long as the Chiefs don't screw something up, they're going to score on this drive. They're bringing that feeling back a little bit with the way that Mahomes is playing in particular right now. How do they maintain that feeling on offense against the Lions team that could be down as many as 4 starters, depending on the game time statuses of a couple of their important secondary players?
I mean, that's a really big thing because, there's a possibility. Hey, Detroit's playing without both of their top starting safeties. Maybe their number 3 safety too. I can't imagine that all these guys that are questionable are going to be out, but we do know they're going to be missing some pieces for sure in their secondary. And that has got to have, Patrick Mahomes salivating at the idea of being able to pick on some guys that haven't seen a lot of playing time. I mean, there's always a double-edged sword there. You don't have film on these guys, so you may not know much about them. And we've seen the Chiefs sometimes go up against depleted defenses and struggle. They haven't done that this year. I mean, they took Baltimore obviously out to the woodshed. So you got to feel optimistic that this is a team with a little bit more killer instinct that can take advantage of situations like that. But once again, I mean, it's going to start with the protection. This is the strength, I think, of this Detroit defense, rather, is being able to get after the quarterback. And Aiden Hutchinson is obviously one of the best in the biz. You've got to be able to protect your quarterback. If Mahomes has time, like once again, he did against Jacksonville, he can pick apart any defense. It doesn't matter whether you're playing man zone, whether you're blitzing him, whatever. I mean, if you can protect Mahomes, he's going to pick you apart, and this Detroit secondary in particular. So as long as they can keep Hutchinson and company off of Mahomes, I think the offense should have a good day.
We were talking earlier about Andy Reid typically doesn't like to keep a tight end or a back end just for the sake of helping a tackle chip on an elite pass rusher, even some of the best pass rushers in the business. He's always preferred and does so more than most other offensive coordinators and coaches to keep his tackles on an island and let them go to battle one-on-one. Do you change tactics against Hutchinson knowing that you might not have as much trouble getting guys open on the back end against a depleted secondary?
It'll be really interesting, especially how Detroit deploys Hutchinson, because he's equal opportunity. He's not one of these guys that just consistently lines up on one side versus the other. He's almost 50-50 about whether he lines up on the left side or the right side. And right now, I mean, the way that Josh Simmons is playing, I think they've got complete faith in Josh Simmons about just about anybody one-on-one. So I don't know if they would necessarily feel the need to put a lot of help on his side, maybe a little bit more on Jawan Taylor's side, just so there's a little bit of less stress on him. And the Chiefs haven't been afraid to, you may use their running backs a little bit in those situations and then have them, sneak out in the flat as just kind of an emergency option. I could see that. You're right. I mean, they usually do leave those guys on an island pretty much. And I think they're in this situation would be much more likely to do it with Simmons than with Jawan.
For the Chiefs to win this game, what do you think is the most important thing that they have to do?
I mean, it sounds cliche, but don't make mistakes. That's what happened when Detroit came in here and beat them, and in the season opener a couple of years ago. The Chiefs made too many
Toney
mistakes.
game.
The Kadarius Toney game. Too many mistakes, too many drops, too many turnovers. That's exactly what you got to avoid in this one too. So, and because it's been a little bit of the theme of the Chiefs season so far. If you make too many mistakes, this team right now they're playing too close of games to make those mistakes. So protect the football. You can't have penalties. You mentioned the offense, when they don't get behind the sticks, being able to score on pretty much every drive. Yeah, you can't end up in like 2nd and 24s because of penalties. You can't have those, like the 13 penalties they had last week. Can't do that again.
All right, Matt. A lot of people, it feels like nationally, are leaning the Lions. It feels like there's a little bit of pessimism maybe in the kingdom this week, worried about this Lions team, and justifiably, they're very good. Vegas has remained steely in its resolve that the Chiefs should be the favorites. So what say you? 30 seconds, Matt. Who's winning on Sunday night?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this one, Dan, so much, mostly because of the injury situation. But I tell you what, after seeing this team this week, they look focused. This looks like a team that wants to prove that those mistakes last week were a fluke. Detroit is dinged up. They should take advantage of that. I'm going with the Chiefs in a close win, 30-28.
I'm right there with you at 31-30 Chiefs. Matt Derrick is our Chiefs insider, joins us every Friday on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, always a pleasure. Enjoy the game, and we'll do it again next week.
Sounds great, Dan. Take care, my friend.
That is Matt Derrick. We'll step aside, do On Second Thought to wrap up this 3 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk next. On second thought, Orion Kirkery should have thrown that ball to first base last night. If you didn't see it, that's how the Philadelphia Phillies season ended in the National League Division Series. Game 4 against the Dodgers, tied at 1 in the 11th. Bases loaded, 2 out. All Kirkery's got to do on that weak little squibber back to him off the bat of Andy Pages is throw to first. His catcher, JT Realmuto, is telling him, signaling him, throw to first. But, pitchers have a lot on their minds before they throw a pitch. And sometimes that means something slips your mind. And for Kirkering, the thing that slipped his mind was, where am I going with the ball if it comes back to me? It came back to him. He panicked. He threw it approximately 20 feet over Realmuto's head. And the Dodgers won because, of course, they did, because they always do, because they're the Dodgers. Feel bad for that kid Kirkering, though. It was nice to see how his teammates rallied around him in his moment of disappointment. On second thought, maybe somebody should have drafted Cam Scattaboo a little earlier, huh? What a steal he looks like for the New York Giants. The Giants have put together quite the pair of Jackson Dart and Cam Scattaboo. Call it the crazy-ass white boy offense. And they beat the Eagles last night on Thursday Night Football. It's a lot of fun. The Giants are fun. And Cam Scattaboo is a bowling ball with knives attached that is no fun to tackle. And anybody who watched a minute of Arizona State football last year knew that. He should have gone way earlier in the draft than he did. Imagine him in a Chiefs uniform right now. Wouldn't that be sweet? Well, there's a lot of teams that watched what he did last night to the Eagles, even though it was no Jalen Carter, and thought, man, sure be nice to have that kid. You know what else would be nice to have? Some tickets to K-State TCU on Saturday. I've got a family 4-pack of tickets. I want to give them away to you. Caller 5 to 785-272-9429. You win the ticket. 785-272-9429. Caller number 5, you're going to K-State TCU on Saturday. We got picks and what is wrong with you and more next hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk, hour number 2 on a Red Friday, a Football Friday. And the gang's all here on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. I am Dan Lucero. Brendan Dworzinski and Spencer Dupuis are here.
I saw, dude.
It's great to have everybody in the house for this Friday edition of the program. Lots to get to still on the show yet. We're going to look ahead to Saturday. Both K-State and KU underdogs in Big 12 play this weekend. K-State a short underdog at home against TCU. K-State big underdog, 2 TD plus underdog. KU, yeah.
K-State would also be a 2+ touchdown underdog to Tech, though, at this point.
I'm struggling to come up with the Big 12 team who would be a 2-touchdown underdog in Lubbock right now.
Cincinnati?
Nah, man, I think they might be too. Like, does anyone believe in Cincinnati?
No, and maybe that's my own fault. Maybe that's my Scott Satterfield.
I said it more as a
scoring.
joke because I know we hate Scott Satterfield on this program.
Oh, yeah, we do. You know that's right. Yeah, like I mean, they've been good. They keep winning. I don't believe in them farther than I can throw them.
Yeah, that's kind of where I sit with them, too. Like, they're off to a nice start in conference play. That was a good win last week against an Ohio State team that's starting to run out of functional defensive backs. But, no, I am not sitting here today a convert to the Church of Scott Satterfield.
I have not submitted my paperwork for that one.
let's go ahead and be honest about that. Here in the 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. I'm getting ahead of myself. 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. We got the continuation of our 580 Sports Talk picks contest. Got our spread picks in college football and NFL games this weekend, and a wild card pick. You know how we get down on the Sports Talk picks contest. That's coming up here in just a little bit. Fun way to talk about the football weekend. We're also going to crown a weekly champion on What Is Wrong With You. And as we mentioned, we'll preview K-State, TCU, and KU at Texas Tech. Still have sports headlines, changed my mind, whole bunch of other stuff still to come on the program today. And want to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube stream. Again, the name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. Great to see everybody in the chat today. Got another fall cash keyword real quick that I'm going to give away. Our fall cash contest at 580WIBW.com. I want to make somebody $2,000 richer, and maybe that somebody will be you.
Hey.
All you got to do. No, not you.
Not us, unfortunately.
Not you guys.
Why don't even show up?
Not anybody related to any of you either. Just make that real clear. Anyhow, go to 580WIBW.com. Click the contest link on the front page. It will prompt you to enter a keyword for this hour. Once you enter the keyword in your information, you are registered for a chance to win $2,000 today. We've given it away every weekday this week. We're going to do it every weekday of next week as well. Your 4 o'clock keyword. That means it is this hour's keyword. It is good until 5 o'clock. This hour's keyword is link. Link.
We all link up.
LINK. Link. Go click the link on our website, 580WIBW.com.
I was going to say we all link up at the start of the 4 o'clock hour on Fridays.
This is true.
I was going to say the main character in the Legend of Zelda games is not Zelda. It's generally Link.
That is true.
Yeah.
Link is your keyword this hour for the fall cash contest. Again, 580WIBW.com. Hop in there, get entered, get registered for your chance to win 2,000 smackaroos.
I believe Link was also never mind. I don't want to confuse anyone. There was also a member of the Mod Squad named Link, but spelled differently. We're not talking about that Link. We're talking about the Link with a K.
A Link I definitely knew existed before 5 minutes ago.
You don't know about Link Hayes from the Mod Squad?
No, not really my not my area of expertise.
Look at this rube.
Yeah, that's one word to describe me. Anyhow, before we get to our 580 Sports Talk Picks contest, I want to call you guys onto the carpet. Not really, but I want you to explain yourselves.
Okay.
We've gone through our keys to the game. We've gone through our predictions. They're all on paper. They're all out there in the ether now. There's no going back. Spencer, you've picked Drew Tranquil as your big chief. Can you explain why?
Yeah, I think that obviously tight ends are big for the Lions, and I think that covering tight ends might not be the best that Drew Tranquil can be as a linebacker, but I think he's got to step up this week, and I think he could prove to step up big. And also, he's a linebacker. He kind of controls the middle area of the field and the tight end if a tight end's coming there. So I think he needs to have a big game.
And Brendan, I know you'll have a chance to stretch your legs a little bit with this in the 5 o'clock hour, but you were the only one of us picking the Lions. I'm taking the Lions to cover, but the Chiefs to win. I'm hedging a little bit. I could use a win. I'm under 500 both straight up and against the spread. So I'm hedging a little bit to get back to 500 one way or the other here. But you're on the Lions to win. What is the main reason you think they're going to win?
I think the Chiefs need to play, given who the personnel for the Chiefs are and the way they have played recently compared to the way the Lions offense has played, I think they need to be pretty much perfect to win this game. Now, that can happen. I didn't say Lions 35, Chiefs, 24, 42 to 31 or something. Like I think it's a one-score game. I think this is going to be very close. I have no concerns about the Chiefs scoring, and that's why I picked Tyquan Thornton actually as my big chief. You had Hollywood Brown. I went with Tyquan Thornton. No Terry and Arnold. We know that room is already thin because I don't have Ennis Rakestraw because he got hurt during the offseason. Their safeties are banged up. I think Mahomes can throw for 350 and 404 kind of numbers in this game. Like, I think he is going to light it up. And I almost went with Xavier Worthy, but here's the difference. I don't think Tyquan Thornton is made of toothpicks and tissue paper, which Xavier Worthy might be because he gets pinballed around and hurt all the time. I'm being a little facetious, but not really. So that's why I went with Tyquan Thornton there. I think the Chiefs are going to score plenty. I think, and this is why I said turnovers thought were going to be key in this game. I just worry about the Chiefs personnel slowing down this current version of the Lions. I think it'll be close. I don't think the Lions are unbeatable by any means, but I do think right now they are playing the best football of anyone in the NFL. That's what worries me a little bit here.
I understand that perspective completely. My thought is the Lions haven't been as good in the red zone as you'd expect them to be with their personnel. I think the Chiefs can bow up in the red zone a little bit. Dan Campbell's going to go for it, but like one 4th down stop in the red zone or one drive where you hold a team to a field goal instead of a touchdown, I think in a game that I expect to be fairly high scoring and fairly back and forth, I think that could play a big difference. And I think we're due to see the Chiefs defense come up with a game-winning play at some point. So
I sure hope so.
Let's get to the picks, shall we? The 580 Sports Talk Picks contest continues.
I would like to call you to the carpet here as we begin this.
Whoa.
What sort of weird chicanery voodoo magic did you pull off to get three draws, 3 pushes? Because this was less frustrating when I had fewer wins than Dan and was behind him. Now I have more wins, but am still behind him because of all these pushes. So what are you doing? Who's the plug? Who are you calling? What's going on here?
If I were calling somebody, it would not be for a push. I want to be very clear. If I'm pulling some strings, I'm not pulling them to come out even, to get my stake back.
Maybe you're just hiding. Maybe you're saving that for later.
I said
it could happen twice this weekend again. It's a possibility.
Yeah, you bet those even numbers, you put yourself at risk. You generally do. So
those risks paid off for you because you only have 10 wins and you're ahead of me. You have 11.
I am still in second place.
Nonsense.
It is very funny. I had a miserable week last week. I've had lousy luck, but as I said earlier, I'm making good picks. The players are playing badly.
Of course.
I am 10, 15, and 3 overall. Brendan, you are 11 and 17, but coming off of a winning week. So stonks trending up.
Yep.
Spencer 4 and 1 last week, and he's into the black. You probably, if you're betting Spencer, you're still down the vig, but still, 1 game over 500. We take those.
Better than the alternative here.
Certainly is. 14,
You're making
13,
something.
and
Might
1.
be penny stocks, but
So we've got 2 against the spread picks in college football, 2 picks against the spread in the NFL Sunday, and a wild card pick that could be a prop, another spread. It's never another spread. We never do another spread. It's always either a player prop of some kind or an over-under. So that's the contest. Real simple. Brendan, since you're in last place, the last shall be first. I'm going to let you go first with your picks this week. Lay it on us, your college football against the spread picks for this Saturday.
This is some horse hockey. All right, so all my picks combined, I have one pick that I think is kind of gross, and I have one pick that is kind of disgusting. In fact, fully disgusting.
I'm a little disappointed that you do not have a pick on here for the dumpster juice game of the millennium taking place this Saturday between UMass and Kent State.
I was very tempted.
I'm
not gonna lie.
I was trying to find a way to get a bet to get that game into the picks, and I just couldn't do it to myself. I didn't want to go into like inside the numbers on UMass Kent State. That sounded miserable, so I left it alone.
Had this one been at Warren G. McGurk Stadium, I probably would have put something in on it, because one does not just walk into the McGurk Alumni Stadium and come out covering the spread.
The Gurk, as it's known.
The Gurk. Little worried about the factory. I'm staying away from that one. This one is my gross pick of the week. Why is Arizona only a 1.5 point dog against BYU? I know they're at home, but there's no time zone travel here that's coming into play.
No.
Why is that only a 1.5 point spread?
Yeah, that jumped off the page at me, and that smelled so funny. I didn't want anything to do with it.
To quote Scott Van Pelt of ESPN, that line is stinky poo. Something is wrong with it. I'm taking Arizona because they should be like a 6 point underdog, not a 1.5 point underdog. Something is rotten in the state of Tucson, so we're going with Arizona right there. Also from out west, some late night football for you to get your bets in on Saturday. San Diego State on the road at Nevada. This one, again, kind of a weird number here. South Dakota State, a 7.5 point road favorite. I'm going to take the Aztecs here. Sean Lewis's team is playing really, really well. A lot of advanced metrics and advanced implied spreads that I was looking at had this closer to 10 or 11 points. So I'm going to go with the Aztecs. Nevada stinks. They are really bad. A lot of the Mountain West. The Mountain West this year is about as bad as I think it's been in, God, I couldn't even tell you how long. Like, Boise's nothing special. Fresno State is a miserable watch. San Diego State's pretty decent. Air Force is awful.
Yeah, they're bad.
Nevada is awful.
Colorado State's bad.
Colorado State is disgusting. Utah State's nothing to write home about. They play on the islands. I almost took that game on the islands, but we'll go San Diego State minus 7.5.
It's a Hawaii test week.
Oh, yeah.
They play 11:59 Eastern.
Listen, I'm going to be driving home from Pittsburgh on Saturday. I'm not going to get home till, 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I'm going to miss 6 of 9 innings of the Cubs game. We're not going to watch a lot of D1 college football. I'm staying up for every single snap of the Hawaii game this week.
Love that for you. My picks in college football this week. Indiana is at Oregon. Marquee Big Ten matchup. Indiana at Oregon. Imagine traveling back in time and saying that with a straight face to your 3 years ago self.
Video game ass game.
Marquee Big Ten matchup. IU at Oregon. Oregon's a 7-point favorite. I'm laying the points with the Ducks, and here's why. Kurt Cignetti never hesitates as a coach at Indiana. When he has better talent, he will run up the score. They beat the bejeepers out of Illinois earlier this year. They will crush you. If they have more talent than you, they're going to run it up. They're going to score big. They're going to post such a big margin. And then when they run into teams that have more talent than they do, Kurt Cignetti turtles up. It happened against Ohio State last year. It happened in the playoff against Notre Dame. Kurt Cignetti is all hat and no cattle. When his team is outmanned, they are going to play not to lose.
What did I hear?
And that's going to get them drilled by Dan Lanning's Oregon Ducks.
I think I heard them described as going into please don't hurt me mode.
Yes.
Which, yeah, kind of.
Not in the face mode.
Yeah, their whole thing last year was just to say they were undaunted.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went and played this is inappropriate for 2025, I apologize, the wussiest game of all time in the playoff.
Yes.
Like, the only opening round game that was not even remotely competitive.
Kurt Cignetti played that game to be defeated with dignity. Like, that was their whole thing. Like, we want to lose, but we want to lose with our
So
pride
cowardly.
and all of our limbs. Yeah, he is. I think he coaches like a coward in games where he's outmanned. He is outmanned against Oregon. And I think Oregon will make him pay because Dan Lanning is not shy about making a point if he has the ability to do
Dan
so.
Lanning?
Yeah.
That Dan Lanning?
Yes.
Are we sure?
That wide-eyed Dan Lanning. I don't know what's in the Red Bull or whatever his drink of choice is before games, but Dan Lanning's a character.
It does make sense, that strategy, though, for Indiana, because that's their playoff resume.
Yes.
Like, wow,
Look
look at all these style points.
Yeah.
They won 10 games. What happened in the other 2? No, look at the style points. Do not look at Ohio State and Oregon, please.
My other pick, Iowa State is a 2.5-point favorite at Colorado. I think this is an obvious bounce back spot. I know Iowa State's banged up. I mentioned they're running out of cornerbacks. Beck got dinged last week. Carson Hansen got concussed and didn't play in the second half. I still think Iowa State is a kind of football team that beats Colorado and beats them pretty handily. And I would expect Matt Campbell to out-scheme Deion Sanders 7 ways from Sunday. I like Iowa State to win by more than a field goal. Only 2.5 to lay on the road. It's not a weird kickoff time or anything. It's not after dark in Boulder. So I'll take Iowa State lay 2.5. Spencer, your picks for college football, please.
Yes, I'm going to go in reverse order as I have them laid out here. Arizona State's going to Utah with, at this point, a probably not. Arizona State's probably not going to have their starting quarterback.
It's not probably not. He has been ruled out.
He has officially?
Sam
Okay.
Leavitt is not going to play. So I wonder what happened to that line after he was ruled out. Or you may have gotten it when he had already been all but ruled out by Kenny Dillingham
he was doubtful is what I saw in the availability report this morning when I came in. So
let's see. That line is now at 9. Still want it?
Yes.
Okay. Utah minus. I kind of think that's good because Arizona State's starting quarterback.
It only went up a half a point.
Yeah. Arizona State's starting quarterback is going to be Jeff Sims. Before you ask, yes, that Jeff Sims. He stinks,
dude.
Man,
he has got to be the best hang ever.
Last seen on national television committing like 30 turnovers against Colorado 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, so this is an easy one for Utah.
Yeah, I like that pick. And then your other pick is the Marshall game. Go ahead.
Yes, we've got the pick. Marshall's off a bye. Didn't pick them last week. Obviously, they were on a bye. They did win their bye. I hear to note they did cover. They're at home taking on an Old Dominion. Old Dominion's been a force to be reckoned with in college football this year so far. But Marshall is going to cover the 14.5 dog as their 14.5 dogs.
That's you get the hook there at home off a bye.
Yeah.
Don't hate that. All right. NFL spread picks. Spencer, lead us off. Give us the Washington pick first.
All right. Commanders, Monday Night Football. We remember how this game against the Bears ended last year. It ended in a Hail Mary touchdown winner as Jaden Daniels found Noah Brown in the back of the end zone after the Chicago Bears cornerback, I think Tyree Stevenson. He was just out in La La Land taunting the fans. But Jaden Daniels said, no, throw out that play. We're going to go win this week. So I've got the Commanders at home, Monday Night Football, not a standalone Monday Night Football, boo. But Monday Night Football at Northwest Stadium, formerly FedEx Field. I got them winning by 4.5.
I'm going to give you a really hot take about this game. The Commanders are frauds if they don't win by double digits. That Bears defense is so bleeping bad. They are an embarrassment to every single person your Chicago uncle has told you about for the last 40 years. Oh my God, they suck. I'm being facetious, but like they should kick their ass.
I mean, if they get the offensive output they had against the Chargers this last weekend,
they'll smoke them.
Yeah,
they'll smoke them.
Your other NFL pick, please.
Yes, Ravens are at home without Lamar Jackson. He's been officially ruled out. So I've got the Rams on the road as they get ready to spend the next week or next 4 days in Baltimore, as they're going to practice at Camden Yards before they head over to the other side of the world. I got them covering, or they're favored, so I've got them winning on the road 7.5. I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's not looking good for the Ravens. They're getting some guys back from injury, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, I got to see if the Ravens got any pride. It's kind of a pride game for them.
It is. The only reason I did not take this game is the Rams are traveling 3 time zones going east and playing at 1:00 Eastern time. That is the only reason why I did not take them.
Always a tricky spot.
I think they might already be in Baltimore, though.
Body clocks, though.
Body clock.
Well, what did the Commanders do reverse body clock last week? They went out to L.A. beforehand.
It's different going west.
Yeah, it's much different going west than it is going east. Yeah. Anyhow, my NFL picks for the week. Joe Flacco's starting a quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's been with the team for like 3 seconds, and he is going to start on Sunday behind the worst offensive line in the NFL. And if you haven't seen Joe Flacco play, I cannot possibly overstate how little he can move. He is inert in the pocket behind a terrible offensive line, playing against the Packers on a bye featuring Micah Parsons. The Packers are 14.5-point favorites. You could make that line double, and I would take Green Bay.
I bet you can get great odds on that.
Yeah, Green Bay minus 29, right? Like, honest to goodness, I think Joe Flacco might be carried off the field on Sunday.
The Flacco already has a win over the Packers this year with the Browns.
He does.
Joe Flacco sucked in that game. That had nothing to do with him. They got 3 short fields and a blocked kick.
Yes, Cleveland, very good defense. Cincinnati's defense, 6-pack of ass.
Dog, he had a quarterback success rate of 33.
Oh, no.
That's like demoted to UF. That's like Tate Martell at UNLV bad.
There's no way he knows the entire offense. It's going to be bare bones stuff and just get it out as fast as possible and try and lean on the running game. And the running game isn't very good. I just don't see how they score points. I think Green Bay cruises. And then I got San Francisco +3 at Tampa Bay. God help me, I just don't think the Buccaneers are actually good. And I think this is a game where I would trust Kyle Shanahan to come up with something to beat Raheem Morris.
For what it's worth, Brendan Analytics also not buying Tampa Bay. They're not really buying San Francisco either, but they're really not buying Tampa Bay.
Yeah, 49ers +3 at Tampa Bay. It's a late game, too, so not as much of a body clock factor with the cross-country travel.
Yep.
Brendan, your NFL picks.
All right, so I took the University of Arizona in the college picks, not in the pro picks for the pro team from Arizona. Cardinals are getting 7.5 on the road at Indy. Indianapolis is crushing teams. I mean, they're smoking everybody. I don't think Arizona's as good as I was kind of hoping they would be. Their offense is just so uneven. They can go from looking incredible to looking awful drive to drive, which is not a great indication for them. They can't really run the ball, and James Conner's hurt too. I think Indy can get ahead and just put this one on ice. 7.5 is a lot. I'm going to take it, though, with Indy. Here is probably the most disgusting pick I've made the entire season. On the road at Allegiant Stadium, Tennessee +4.5 against the Las Vegas Raiders.
I thought about this one.
This
honestly.
this is vile. I mean, this made me almost ill to put in here. But I don't think Tennessee's offense stinks, but they do. I think Cam Ward's going to be good. Like I really do believe in Cam Ward. I don't think Vegas can stop even a bad offense right now. Their defense is worse than the Bears. So no, I'm taking Tennessee with 4.5. Those two girls are having a mid-off, and so when it's that close and you're giving me more than a field goal, I'll take the candy.
All righty. Now to our wild card pick. Spencer, what Commander player prop do you have this week?
Bill Krosky Merritt, the rookie of the week, is going to go over 64.5 rushing yards.
That should be 15 yards higher. I'm
it
telling
probably,
you, man,
well,
we're going to
it's
plow them.
Look, it's because they do this like 3 running back system.
What's dumb?
Which they're
Cliff.
probably going to be without Chris Rodriguez because he's hurt.
Call Cliff. Let me talk to him. Let me tell him that's dumb.
All right, I'll get him on the phone.
Brennan, what's your wild card pick for the week?
Dallas at Carolina over 49.5 points. Neither of those teams can stop anyone.
I am going with an anytime touchdown for Seahawks wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I think Seahawk Dan
Are
is
you going to
back.
start a new thing?
Seahawk Dan.
If it works, I might.
We got
Listen.
locks?
Yeah, we'll circle back here. My lock of the week, I will say, is Oregon -7.
Oh God, I don't want to lock any of mine. Give me San Diego State 7.5 at Nevada.
Spencer, what's your lock of the week? Both of you guys hit your locks last week, for the record. I did not.
I'm between 2 right now. I'm trying to figure out. Arizona State at Utah favored by 9.
I would feel very good about betting against Jeff Sims as well. Yeah. That's the 580 Sports Talk Picks Contest. Again, it's Spencer, then me, then Brendan in the standings, but there's a lot of season left. We'll take a timeout. We'll pick a What Is Wrong With You chant for the week next on 580 Sports Talk. It is What Is Wrong With You time on 580 Sports Talk. We are about to crown a weekly champion on this segment. We have two new stories today. The current weekly champ is the former sheriff of Spartanburg County, South Carolina, who spent $17,000 in taxpayer money on unauthorized purchases, including $1,300 on in-app purchases in the Apple App Store, 92 packs of Dollar General cigarettes. I know they're not like a Dollar General brand cigarette. Maybe there is. I don't know. Never bought cigs at the Dollar. You mean the DG lights? You mean the DG menthols? Also purchased satellite radio, an iPad at Best Buy, an at-home drug test kit, and spent more than $900 at Fuddruckers.
I want to know what you can get for $900 at Fuddruckers.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen the Fuddruckers menu. And look, there are
Inflation.
Yeah, inflation is certainly a factor here, but yeah, you build your own burger here at the Fudd in Spartanburg, one of 4 Fuddruckers locations in the great state of South Carolina.
That's right.
They have an arcade. Oh man, no wonder.
Yeah, dude, I'd go blow $900 at the Fuddruckers too.
Maybe it wasn't just maybe it wasn't just burger. Maybe this was.
we know he likes to play games.
Oh, Hubert.
It looks like you can get a large burger.
One burger, please.
2/3 pound burger for $14.29. That's a hoss.
God dang, that's pricey.
Or bison burger for $12.79 if you'd rather.
Well, now that's just healthy.
Fudd fries for $4. Yeah. Anyway, that's
all right.
Chuck Wright.
Like
what a
Chuck
waste
Wrong.
of a great sheriff name.
All right, so I've got a picture of the arcade at the
Spartanburg.
No, I don't have the Spartanburg one. This is in Concord somewhere. Concord, Georgia? Concord, New Hampshire? I'm not sure. They got a racing game. They have one of those like vertical claw game things where you can win, headphones or knock off Apple products or whatever. They got air hockey. Yeah, it's not big, but there's some stuff here. What looks to be a broken down skee ball machine.
I love skee ball.
Yeah, skee ball is a classic.
Anyhow, we got 2 new stories today. I will go first. We are going to Minneapolis. I've never heard of Shipt. I really got to pronounce that P. Shipt.
It's
S-H-I-P-T?
It's like a DoorDash.
Yes, it's an American delivery service owned by the Target Corporation. Anyway, a gentleman driving for Shipt in Minneapolis allegedly stole some purchases from Target customers. How many purchases, you ask? How about over 16 grand in purchases? 25-year-old Kong Hu Huang is charged with 1 count of theft by swindle. What a great name for a crime.
Awesome.
According to the charges, on August 18th, officers received reports that Huang was a delivery driver who was reportedly marking packages coming from Minneapolis Target as delivered, but they were never received by the purchasers. The employee got surveillance footage. An employee from the Target ordered a vacuum cleaner. It was marked as delivered, but never received. The surveillance footage showed Huang delivering the vacuum, taking a picture of it to verify the delivery, as you do, and then just taking the vacuum and taking off. Target was then notified by a staff member at an apartment building on South 9th Street in Minneapolis about a large amount of empty Target boxes in the building's garbage. Many of the boxes had different addresses throughout the Twin Cities. According to court documents, Target found that Huang was the shipped delivery driver for all of those packages. They all had been marked delivered but reported missing. He was the delivery driver for about $16,541.69 worth of items that were never delivered to customers. He was a resident at the apartment building where the Target boxes were found. He was seen on camera disposing of boxes at least 27 times.
27.
Dog. That's way too many.
He allegedly took items including a standing fan, Shark and Dyson vacuums, a Roku TV, and a 50-inch Samsung Smart TV.
Wow.
Those are some expensive items. You get those.
Yeah, those are not cheap
those
vacuums.
vacuums are expensive.
Not cheap vacuums. Huang is currently in custody. That is my story today. Gentleman just thought, I'll take the picture and prove it was delivered and then just blame a porch pirate. Nah, brother, that porch pirate is you. What is wrong with you today, Spencer?
Yeah, the one that I have here, this guy is just dumb because he steals from the same place he tries to go back to. Florida man was hit with federal charges this week after he allegedly stole $7,000 in scratch-off lottery tickets from a convenience store. then returned to the scene of the crime mere hours later to try to redeem his loot. Justin Farley, 43, pulled into St. Petersburg Circle K on May 5th and opened multiple cabinets and took scratch-off tickets, lottery tickets, before fleeing the scene in a gray Hyundai Elantra, according to a probable cause affidavit. Roughly 40 minutes later, he arrived at an area 7-Eleven to redeem $7,000 worth of scratch-offs. According to the document filed in U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida, after an unsuccessful attempt, the bumbling thief then returned to the same Circle K and tried to cash in on 7 ticket books that he had stolen from the store. His attempt once again failed. The document said he then left and returned to the Circle K minutes later, only to come up empty a third time, according to a filing. Disparaged, he drove back to the 7-Eleven in a black mask, yellow shirt, and black Nikes, and pointed a replica Glock at the clerk, demanding a staffer open the register. Prosecutors allege he successfully made off with $120 from the register before escorting the clerk to the back of the store and snatching a pack of Newport cigarettes. A slew of evidence, including his license plate and surveillance footage, led cops to pull over Farley on May 22nd and book him on commercial burglary and grand theft. After his arrest, he told cops he, quote, needed the money.
I guess so.
Yeah. So he just went, he's got federal charges as well.
So that guy wins today. That's
Yeah.
very funny. Going back to the place he stole from. Hey, I got all these tickets. Some of them are winners. Will you cash me out, please? Nah, man, we just saw you take these.
We watched it happen.
I think it's the like going back and forth to multiple locations multiple times that got it for me.
That is truly desperation.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Stop being the sheriff. Look,
He's not getting his
like
foot
I
on.
said, if he'd spent $900 at a Denny's or at an IHOP, I'm not sure the story would pack quite the same punch as a Fuddruckers.
Just
Get
a
your
very
foot on.
Spartanburg story.
Do you know their mottos? Get your foot on.
I do now.
It's on their website.
He got his foot on, and now he is a What Is Wrong With You weekly champion. Shout out to the former sheriff, Chuck Wright of Spartanburg County, South Carolina. He'll move on to the end of the month on What Is Wrong With You. We'll take a break. When we come back, one big question for both KU and K-State as they try to win as underdogs on Saturday. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk. 444 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan, Brendan, Spencer with you. I'm reading about the history of Fuddruckers during the commercial break.
There's a Fuddruckers like 15 minutes from my parents' house.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
One of very few left in this country.
Nearest, they were all supposed to close in 2021, but they were bought by private capital. And so far, that's been a net positive for Fuddruckers because they're still all open.
Yeah.
Not the ones back where I grew up, though. The nearest one to us where we sit right now is in Branson.
I think a lot of the East Coast ones do very well. I know the one that I grew up going to did really well.
Listen, you put a Fudd somewhere on Wanamaker, you'd kill.
Hey,
I'd go right
there's
now.
an open spot right across from the Panera Bread right there.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. So the local franchisee that owns the Spartanburg location owns several Fuddruckers. They have a Twitter account. It has 84 followers. It has not posted since September of 2019. Who are the 84 people who are following the Fuddruckers of Spartanburg? What do you think you're getting
Chuck
out of
Wright.
this? I guess. Oh, I got to go. I'm logged in. I got to go see if I can find him.
The sheriff. Sad news. I guess this is coming as news because we saw in the YouTube comments and we have a text from the 785. Yes, the Fuddruckers at Legends in Kansas City has been closed.
Now, see, that's like when I think of Fuddruckers, I think this belongs at an outlet mall on the outskirts of a big city.
Yeah. No, like I can't picture
Natural fit.
I can't picture going there without like my Little League uniform on after a baseball game on like a 6:00 Tuesday night game, and then you go out to Fudd's afterwards, build your own burger, get a suicide at the Coke machine.
Man, we had a place that was
Suicide? What's that?
That's where you get a little bit of every flavor.
Oh, I never called it that.
What'd you call it?
The freestyle.
I just called it gross.
That's
It's a
because
little
I grew
little
up
less
on
grim.
the freestyle machines.
We were more politically incorrect back in my day. We called it a suicide.
We called it the old genocide. You're killing all your taste buds with this one, brother.
I didn't realize how much Texas likes their Fuddruckers. Look how many locations are in Texas.
Well, their parent company was Luby's for a while, and Luby's Texas company. Luby's is famous for something else.
Oh, with a B.
Yes.
There's
Luby's.
9 locations there, and that's like the most of anywhere.
All right.
This is more pub than they have gotten anywhere on earth in decades.
That's a big fact.
Go to your local Fuddruckers. Oh, wait,
Support-
Branson, Missouri.
Support your local Fuds.
I got to find the ad agency for them. See if they'll send us some burgers and send them up.
Yeah, I love Fuddruckers. Yeah, build your own burgers, man. That was the way to go. They had the produce bar and everything.
They got catering.
You know there is a Fuddruckers? Lubbock. And that takes us to college football this weekend.
Everything's
because
local.
You know who could eat at Fuddruckers tonight if they wanted to? The Kansas football team.
It's now reopened. Join them today.
KU is a 14.5-point dog at number 9 Texas Tech. The total for that game, 58.5, according to Prairie Band Sportsbook. The big question for this one for me, can KU crack this defense? Because nobody else in the Big 12 has been able to. Jacob Rodriguez is up in the air for Saturday. He was questionable throughout the week on the availability report. That would be substantial if he could not go, because that is the linebacker who is the beating heart of that Texas Tech defense.
Yeah, he's a star.
But KU's tackles are going to have to hold up against some dudes in the trenches, particularly David Bailey, who's playing like the best edge rusher in the country. I think the Jayhawks are explosive enough in the passing game that they don't have to come out and play conservatively. They don't have to come out and say, well, we're going to have to shorten this game. Fewer possessions is better. They don't have to play like the underdog. They've got an experienced quarterback and an explosive offense. But if they're going to be able to make plays in the passing game, JD is going to need time. And they're going to have to be good on 3rd and 4th down, because Texas Tech has been on both sides of the ball and KU has not.
Mm-hmm.
So the money downs, I think, are also going to be critical in this one. But that's the big question for me. Can KU consistently move the ball? And that would be doing something that nobody else in this league has done. But in fairness, Texas Tech, I don't think, has played against a quarterback as good as Jalen Daniels.
No, I think that's entirely fair. And I think tying in with that is, can they protect Jalen Daniels? Because this defensive front for Texas Tech has been very good. And I like the KU offensive line. And I think there are good players along that line. But again, this is also going to be, next to Missouri, the best defensive front that KU has played this season. So it's going to be a challenge. Obviously, I would pick Texas Tech to win this game. And I think KU's going to be competitive. I think KU can keep this one pretty close, and I'd be thrilled if the Jayhawks can get it done. I just think Texas Tech right now is in a class above the rest of the league, in large part because they are just better in the trenches than most teams are. This is not a great trenches league overall. Like,
It's not.
the best and biggest defensive and offensive linemen play in the Big Ten and the SEC. It is what it is. This is a great quarterback league when everyone's healthy. I think it's a good, explosive wide receiver league. I think not quite as much KU this year, but like it's a good defensive backs league. It has been for a long time. It is not a trenches league. So when you've got a team like Texas Tech, that can put them over the top when they've got a bunch of guys who are not only big and beefy, but mesh together as quickly and as well as these Tech guys have. That, to me, is the difference maker. Can you keep JD upright? That's obviously got to be a part of this. I think KU is going to be competitive. I do not think they're going to get run off the field, but I do think Texas Tech probably wins.
If Tech's the team I think they are, they'll win. If KU's the team I think they are, they'll cover. Like this feels like a 38-28 kind of football game to me. Like 10-point game, more so than a 2-touchdown game. K-State is a 2-point home underdog to TCU. Total for that game, 55. Big question for the Cats for me. No Dylan Edwards. We know he's been ruled out. Can Kansas State cobble together a functional running game? Joe Jackson played well against Baylor, and he's going to have a chance to have another solid performance because what we have seen teams do when Dylan Edwards has not played is key in on Avery Johnson in the running game and the option game in particular. If TCU does that, that's going to give Jackson a chance to have another solid performance. If the O-line improvements since the bye for K-State are real with some different personnel in there, and I kind of think that they are because it's different players, and those new guys are playing better up front. But will Avery Johnson be willing to scramble as an extension of the running game? I think at this point, if there was any hint that Avery was playing with the thought of self-preservation and remaining healthy, you got to throw that out the window at this point. Yeah. You got to figure we have to win. Every game is the Super Bowl for Kansas State from this point forward. If they're going to make anything out of this season, they got to treat every game like it's the biggest game of the season. And I would think for Avery Johnson, that would include throwing caution to the wind a little bit more than he's been willing to do throughout this season as a scrambler. If he does that, I think Kansas State's going to have an opportunity to move the ball. I'm not sure TCU's great. I think Kansas State can win, but it's harder to see the best of their offense showing up without Dylan Edwards unless Avery Johnson is an effective scrambler.
No, I think you're spot on with that right there. I'm looking at K-State's run game numbers for the year. Oh boy, it sucks. It's really bad. The eye test flushes that out. CFBgraphs.com, Parker Fleming's advanced college football stats website. It's really good stuff. K-State is ranked 114th in the country in rushing offense efficiency. There are 136 teams. Many of the teams surrounding for comparison's sake, that is worse than West Virginia, which is missing its 2 best running backs and has nothing else going for it offensively. That's the kind of company that K-State is keeping right now. That has me worried. I think to be able to do that, what you just laid out there, Dan, that would be a trend breaker. Can it happen? Sure. The thing that's so annoying about K-State, I think these coaches are good. I think some of these players are very good.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Hyman suddenly forgot how to coach football.
But something is just so rotten with this particular year that it's becoming increasingly difficult to square goodness with the ability to win, and more like sometimes it just doesn't click. And I'm kind of at that point with K-State. I'd probably lean TCU in this game. But
it would not shock me if Kansas State won, but you can't pick them right now. Why would you pick Kansas State to win a football game against a team that is of equal talent or roughly equal talent? Because Baylor was. Kansas State should have won that game, and they didn't. Yep. Kansas State has to prove that they could go win a game that is on level terms because they were better than UCF, and they beat them. But I don't think they're better necessarily, certainly not by that much, than TCU. And right now, they can't be trusted to go win that game enough to actually go and pick them. But again, would I be shocked if that was the outcome? No, I really wouldn't. We'll take a break. We'll come back with a Change My Mind to wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk. I'm always speaking my mind on this program. You gentlemen, try to let me change yours. Give me a change my mind, Brendan.
Change my mind. We will be getting a first-time World Series champion this year.
The Dodgers still in it?
Dodgers are still in it.
Then no, we will not be. It's them. Man, look, they spent $100 million in the offseason on 3 relievers that cannot be put into a game under any circumstance right now. Tanner Scott is hurt. Blake Trinan hasn't gotten anybody out in a month. And Kirby Yates is, I think, either hurt or stinks, or actually both. And it hasn't mattered because they turned to another guy they gave $100 million to, Roki Sasaki. And I was like, yeah, you're a closer now, and you're awesome at it. And that's just how it goes. The Dodgers have more talent. They're going to win the World Series.
Stylistically speaking, I would love to see Mariners Dodgers in the World Series because you get that starting rotation against those Dodgers bats. That sounds now.
It would make the Mariners America's team in a way that they haven't been since the Ken Griffey Jr. years.
They'd lose in 5 at most, but still, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. I would love. Actually, you know what? I would not love to see it. I'm a hater. No Rings Island. I need the company on No Rings Island, but I would like to see anybody but the Dodgers, but I am resigned to that fate at this point after the way they won that Phillies series. You guys have it the rest of the way. I'm headed to high school football. Seaman versus Shawnee Heights tonight. 6:06 pregame, 7 o'clock kick. One more hour, 580 Sports Talk coming up after this on WIBW.
Now it's the final hour of 580 Sports Talk on this feel-good football Friday afternoon. Happy October 10th. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. I just had a huge sneeze. That's Spencer Dupuis. We switched spots for this final hour.
Yeah, your eyes are not deceiving you if you're watching on the YouTube stream, which you should be. Get us close to 800 subscribers.
900.
900.
Yeah, we're already up over 800.
We are. We're at 825.
I'll arm wrestle Dan again, though. I'll do it again. Don't tempt me. I will be with you. That's me, Brendan, for the duration of this final hour of the show. We switched spots, though, so I can be behind all the technical equipment in front of me because Spencer is heading out here in just a few minutes. You got a little high school football tonight. Man, it's one of the best rivalries in Kansas. Shawnee Heights versus Seaman tonight.
Yeah, I saw somebody last night when we were doing the 580 Preps Thursday night game, which Highland Park beat Atchison. Shout out to them for winning last night, 42-6. I'm off my rockers there. 42-12, I think it was. As they got their first win over Atchison under head coach Jermaine Monroe. So shout out to them last night, especially getting back on the field, big for them. But yeah, I saw somebody last night and they're like, hey, get ready to not make any after game plans because you'll be there all night.
We've had some bangers in Shawnee Heights Seaman over the last couple of years. I remember one from 2 years ago. Man, it went to overtime. Oh, it was an absolute classic. 42-18, the final score of that one last night. Yeah, shout out to Highland Park. Big win for the Fightin' Scots and Coach Jermaine Monroe. So Spencer's heading out of here in just a little bit. In this final hour, though, with the two of us, just me, whatever it ends up being, we'll get to our 580 Sports Talk headlines here in just a matter of moments. We'll go around the NFL, major storylines from around the league this week. I'll get you my final thoughts on the Chiefs, flesh out my keys to the game. I know Dan read them to you back in the first segment of the show, but I wanted to flesh out my ideas on those a little bit. And, of course, we'll get to the final word, plus your texts, 785-272-9429, and your comments on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. Spencer Dupuis, are you ready for today's 580 Sports Talk headlines?
Yes, I am.
Let's do it, and let's start like we often do on Friday afternoons with our Chiefs injury report. And this is a sight for sore eyes for everybody. No players out. Everybody is a go. Everybody on the active roster was a full participant in practice today. The only real concern was Xavier Worthy, who was full go Wednesday, did not practice at all yesterday. Turns out that was mostly just precautionary to make sure he was good to go. He practiced in full, as did everybody else. No guys out, no guys doubtful, none questionable. All the Chiefs are good to go for the weekend. That is awesome to see. The Detroit Lions, they are banged up. They have not nearly the kind of cheery injury report that the Chiefs have. 4 players for the Lions are out, and some of these are a pretty big deal. Terrion Arnold, one of their starting cornerbacks, he got really hurt last week. A miracle they didn't even have to put him on IR as of yet. He is out for this game. Zach Cunningham, the veteran linebacker, reserve for them. He's not going to play due to a hammy. He's been out of practice all week. Aleem McNeil tore his ACL late last season. He practiced in full all week, but he is still out. Again, he is still recovering from a torn ACL. And Sion Vaki, reserve running back, special teamer. He's got a groin. He is out this week as well. Bunch of players did not practice today. Their statuses are questionable. Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, their 2 starting safeties, both are game time decisions. Offensive tackle Taylor Decker, he's questionable with a shoulder. He has not practiced all week. Avante Maddox was limited yesterday, DNP today. He's questionable at corner. And backup offensive lineman Giovanni Manu, he had a knee injury pop up during practice this week. He did not practice today. He's questionable, as is wide receiver Khalif Raymond, who also handles some of their punt return duties. I'll share my thoughts on the Lions a little bit later on and this game against the Chiefs, kind of doing an emotional hedge with my pick. Either the Chiefs win and we can just be happy about that, or the Lions win and I can gloat about being right. But this is a banged-up Lions team coming into this game. And if you're looking for some kind of edge, you've got to be thrilled if you're the Chiefs and you have nobody who's missing this one.
Yeah, I mean, for the Chiefs, I think when you look at this, how is Christian Fulton going to play at corner, I think is going to be a big question, because we know he's often injured. That was my biggest criticism about the signing back in free agency period, was him being on the field. Well, guess what? He's not on the injury report like you just mentioned. So hypothetically, he's going to line up there for game or for play one on defense. But also, I want to see Noel Williams more. Dude is really good, and now we've got a numbers game when it comes to cornerbacks on the field.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that Noel Williams needs to play more. Like, we talked about this earlier this week. The end of the game, there's a reason why Trevor Lawrence targeted the guy guarded by Shamari Connor in the end zone. Like, that's pretty cut and dry why that ended up happening. I want to see more Noel Williams. I think everybody at this point wants to see more Noel Williams. And I think that was a very fair key for you for the game. Juan, do you want to get to some of the other injury news around the NFL here?
Yeah, I'll do it here. As we mentioned earlier, I mentioned that my picks part of my segment, Lamar Jackson remains out for the Ravens against the Rams this weekend. Brock Bauer is going to be out for the Raiders this weekend against the Titans. And another league note, the NFL is investigating Jackson Dart's concussion protocol from last night's Thursday Night Football win for the Giants over the Patriots. Brian Dable went into the tent, and then there was an issue. They had to issue a statement today, I believe.
Yes.
Dable and John Mara, that's the owner. They issued a statement about it. Now the NFL is going to be investigating it. Also, other news, 49ers will be without Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall once again as they take on the Buccaneers. Yeah.
All right,
Brock Purdy's season lost.
Let's get to the injury news first.
Yes.
So, no Purdy. I think Brock Purdy.
I think he came back a week early.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that Brock Purdy, in a vacuum, you just take them independent of situation and all of that. I think Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. Mac Jones has been exceptionally good at doing what Kyle Shanahan asks of him in that offense. It's very point and click. Don't make mistakes. Don't hold the ball too long. We're going to work it underneath. Need our running game to get going, which it really hasn't for San Francisco this year, and just don't make mistakes with the ball. Very much what they tried to do with Jimmy Garoppolo when they made it to Super Bowl 54 before losing to the Chiefs. What they kind of started to do with Brock Purdy when he was really young, made it to a Super Bowl where they lost to the Chiefs. But I think Purdy can do more with his arm in terms of pushing it down the field. But Mac Jones has been more than good enough to help them win games right now at quarterback in San Francisco. Ricky Pearsall is really good, though.
Yeah.
Their wide receiver room is truly a mash unit. We'll talk more about this game and others coming up a little bit later on this hour. But yeah, that's pretty significant. Was anyone surprised that Lamar's not playing this week? Like, it was announced and reported today, like, oh my gosh, wow, that's crazy. Is it? I thought it was pretty obvious Lamar was not going to play for multiple weeks, but I guess not. What was the other note you shared with us? Yeah, Brock Bauer's out for the Raiders and Titans. Dude, I hate that I picked the Titans getting 4.5 in that game on the road, but like, what about the Raiders is concerning? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not a single thing right now. So yeah, that's a tough blow for the Raiders. You mentioned the statement from John Mara, the president and CEO of the Giants. In case you missed it last night when the Giants just plundered the Eagles. The Eagles went up 17-13 and then didn't score again and lost by 17 points. That's wild. I don't know that the Giants are good. I do know that they are a vibe, as the kids say. They're fun. Again, I don't know if they're good, but Dart and Scadaboo, that is a fun group, and they've got a truly elite defensive line. But Jackson Dart at one point got taken out of the game, and I think taken for a concussion test off in the blue tent with the team doctor and the independent neurosurgeon. And Brian Dable, the head coach of the Giants, tried to enter the tent while it was happening. And then you can see him on camera moving his fingers in a circular motion like, hey, pick it up. Let's go.
It's like he could not see.
Yeah.
He could not witness Russell Wilson stepping back onto the field.
Do not make me play Russ.
I can't see him step foot back on this field because I had him as my starter.
And
I am so mad about it.
Russ went in, threw a worm burner nowhere close to a receiver, got booed, and maybe this is overkill, and you can tell me if it is, Spencer. I believe that is the final time we will see Russell Wilson throw a pass in the NFL.
I think so. I kind of wish they would have see if he could be traded. I mean, heck, the freaking Bengals traded for 40-year-old Joe Flacco, who's so washed.
Yeah, that's oof. That one's a tough one. All right, let's get to some other headlines from the world of. Oh, I wanted to read you this statement. I'm sorry. I spoke to Coach Dable. This is from John Mara this morning about approaching the medical tent last night. While I firmly believe, as he has stated, he was not trying to influence the process in any way. He understands that the appearance of going to the tent is inappropriate. We have protocols in place as a league to ensure player safety. We need to allow our medical staff to execute those protocols without interference. We understand the situation is under review. We will obviously cooperate fully. Yeah, man, like, you can't go and tell the doctor to hurry up. I don't care if you're not actually interfering or not. That's just a total no-no. Next headline for me today. News from the college sports world. This is going to end badly. Like I don't know how else to put it other than that. This is going to end badly because it has ended badly for every industry that has gone to this well. But according to
Except for Fuddruckers.
Except Fuddruckers, yeah. According to Pete Thamel and Dan Wetzel of ESPN, the Big Ten is closing in on voting on a capital agreement that will infuse league schools with more than $2 billion. There's been momentum within recent days for a deal to push forward, and the structure of the complicated agreement is coming together. A vote is expected in the near future. The framework calls for the formation of a new entity, Big Ten Enterprises, which would hold all league-wide media rights and sponsorship contracts. Shares of ownership in Big Ten Enterprises would fall to the league's 18 schools, conference office, and the Capital Group, which is an investment fund tied to the University of California pension system. Yahoo Sports first reported the involvement of the investment fund. This is not technically private equity, and the UC fund valuation proved to be higher than other competing bids, which was attractive to the Big Ten. So yes, it is technically not private equity. But here's the thing. I don't know how I want to phrase the exact way I want to phrase this. Is this college football anymore beyond like name and concept at this point? Like, you're offering shares of you're divvying up shares of a conference of college athletics programs. Like what? How does the mission of college sports align with this? And look, I'm not so naive as to think that these kids are there for school first, second, and third, and preparing for a life after school fourth, and then it's football after that. I'm not stupid, okay? I understand that. But I'm having a hard time understanding how this benefits anybody in the long term. Like, how is this benefiting the student athletes? How is this benefiting anybody but the league offices? Cody Campbell, the billionaire donor for Texas Tech, who's running all those ads about Save College Sports, which I have my own issues with. But the first thing I've agreed with, I saw him post about it on Twitter today, like, hey, can we see public information about where this money is going?
Yeah.
Because that is something I would like to find out, and I don't know if we're going to find out that information since it's not like these shares are being publicly traded. And if that's the case, that makes this even more shady. It just, I don't know. I have a hard time thinking this is going to be a good move for college sports as a whole, and certainly for the Big Ten. Because you know what? The SEC's next, and then it'll be the Big 12, and then the ACC. And then if any of the G4 or what would be G6 conferences can figure something out, it'll be them as well.
See,
I can't imagine this working out.
The one thing I like about college sports, specifically when you're winning and you're a Power 5 school and you're this and you're that, and the history is that college football draws more fans at games, right? So is there ever going to be a backing down on that, right? So I think like college football prides itself on packing stadiums in the Power 5, Power 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have these stadiums in college football for, Notre Dame, Michigan, they have all these nicknames, the shoe, they're so fan oriented. At what point are we going to see pushback from the fans? Because I think that's when college football will start to take a turn. Because you have 105,000 people going to Michigan games, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have them selling out the shoes, selling out Notre Dame. When are the fans going to push back? Because that's the biggest part to me is fans are still going to games.
I want to know.
That's the biggest part. Like the NFL,
Sure.
The difference in the NFL and college football for me is that there's the stadium capacities in college football when you average them for the top schools, a lot bigger than when you average them out for the NFL top teams.
I just want to know what happens if the league has a couple down years and then the folks in the University of California pension program say, hey, we need changes.
Yeah.
Because then what? Because then if you're co-owning this thing, what do you do? This is a can of worms I don't think the Big Ten and college sports wants to open. Real quick, Spencer, do you have any baseball scores in front of you? Because I believe we've got a quick edition of the playoff roundup.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
All right, friend, I will let you do the honors with the roundup today before you get out of here for high school football.
Yeah, your Cubs won 6-0 yesterday.
Woo!
They are going to force a game 5 that is tomorrow. Fortunately, you're not going to be able to watch a lot of it.
I'll be listening on the radio on the
Yes,
drive
you
home
will.
from Pittsburgh. And if it goes poorly, I might not listen on the radio on the way home from Pittsburgh. We'll see. I'm just glad they ended the home games of this series on a high note. They're playing with house money at this point. So, hey, we'll see. But last night was fun, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, the debacle in LA for the Phillies ends in the 11th inning as the Dodgers walk it off, and that was an ugly way to lose a game if you're the Phillies. They win. The Dodgers win 2-1. They move on as they win the series 3-1. Tonight, Game 5 in Seattle. The Tigers on the road taking on the Mariners. And I don't know if you saw that video from the game the other day where this guy in left field said, "Dump me number 6."
Yep, I did. Yeah, he's great. I assume he'll be back.
Yeah, did you see he took off after he got that homer?
I did.
He took off. He had another shirt there. So that game's tonight, 7:08. You can watch that on Fox. This weekend, as I mentioned, Cubs, Brewers in Milwaukee tomorrow night for the series. That is game 5, as I mentioned, 7:08 on TBS. And then Sunday, it'll be the ALCS game 1. Whoever wins the Tigers Mariners game tonight will take on the Blue Jays at Rogers Center in Toronto. That has been the playoff roundup.
All right, and with that, Spencer is out of here. He's heading off to some high school football, Seaman versus Shawnee Heights. I'm sticking with you through the end of the hour. Coming up next, we'll go around the NFL previewing Week 6 here on 580 Sports Talk. 527 on 580 Sports Talk. And before we continue on with any of the sports talking, we've got another key word for the Connoisseur Media Fall Cash Contest. That is right. $2,000 could be yours. Here's how it works. Head to our website. I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to walk you through the tutorial right now. Head to 580WIBW.com right now. On the left-hand side of the page, you will see a link that says listen to win $2,000 every weekday for 10 lucky winners. You're going to click on that, and it will ask you for a keyword. This word that I'm about to give you is active right up until 6 o'clock. So you have until 5:59:59 to get this in, and not a second later. Your keyword for the 5 o'clock hour is share. 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 That is your keyword. Again, 580WIBW.com. Go enter that for your chance to win $2,000. We'll have another entire week next week of words to get to. So if you don't win this week, you didn't get a chance to enter this week, don't worry. We'll have more words coming hour by hour for regular programming next week here on 580 Sports Talk and 580 WIBW. Big shout out to our guy Mark B keeping us honest with that from the YouTube comments. Real quick, before we go around the NFL, wanted to get to some of the key games from the NFL weekend. Wanted to give a big happy birthday shout out to my dad. My dad's birthday today. He is turning years old. I'm sure he would appreciate me not giving his actual age. But happy birthday to my dad. Also shares a birthday with former Green Bay Packers quarterback Brett Favre and starting center for Washburn Ichabod's women's basketball, Bari Widada. What a day for birthdays. So, no, happy birthday to my dad. I'm 100% certain he's not listening right now, but it's the thought that counts. All right, real quick, let's go around the NFL. Got a few minutes here before we bump up against a commercial break. So I wanted to get to a couple of the big games this weekend, especially the games that we will be viewing in our area. The CBS early game on Sunday, noon kickoff, Chargers at Dolphins. Most of the western part of the country and then the plains are getting this game. The Chargers have to travel all the way across the country from LA to Miami. That has me extremely worried for the Los Angeles Chargers franchise. That said, these two teams in a vacuum, the Chargers should smoke them, and the Dolphins suck. Like, they're bad. The vibes are bad. I've been a Tua defender for years. You guys know that. He might be bad as well. Their coach is totally checked out. It's getting ugly for Miami. Chargers may not put up a huge number because of that cross-country travel, but they should still be able to take care of business. The late game on CBS, talked about it a little bit during our injury update, during headlines. San Francisco versus Tampa Bay. That's the Nance Romo game. Again, that's the afternoon game on CBS that we're getting. I was hoping we'd get Bengals Packers, but oh well. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Tampa Bay has to do the traveling from Florida all the way to California, but it's a mid-afternoon game. It's a 3:25 Central Time kickoff. So what is that? 1:25 on the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken. So the body clocks don't play quite as big a role. It's not like they're playing a 10 a.m. game or anything like that. So I think that should be a pretty entertaining game. Again, Mac Jones has been really good since stepping in at quarterback for San Francisco. They haven't needed Brock Purdy. They have so many injuries, and they just keep churning out wins in San Francisco. I think that's going to be a good game. I also got that wrong. I apologize. San Francisco is doing the traveling. Still, it's going to be the late afternoon game. I apologize. It's not going to make much of a difference when it's later on in the day. And on the road, I'm actually going to take San Francisco in this game. Just straight up pick who you got. I'm going to go with San Francisco over Tampa Bay here. I love Baker Mayfield. You know that, but they're out their top two receivers, even with as good as Emeka Ibuka has been. I think San Francisco keeps their mythical black magic run going. I think they take down Tampa Bay in Tampa. Again, I apologize. The only game we're getting on Fox locally, Dallas at Carolina. This is the game that was getting the most hype during all the Fox ads that you've seen during baseball playoffs or whatever else has been going on in the last couple weeks. That game sucks. Ew. Dallas, Carolina. Gross. I don't want to watch that. I think there's going to be a lot of points, but I'm not really interested in either of those two teams. Rams, Ravens would have been the big game of the weekend on Fox. except Baltimore has nobody healthy. Nobody's going to play. No Lamar. They do have Derrick Henry. Their defense is crazy banged up. It wasn't even good when it was less banged up. So that game has lost a lot of the luster. I thought the game that Fox should have been promoting was Seattle at Jacksonville. Seattle's got to do the cross-country travel. They always leave early. That's a Pete Carroll thing that Mike McDonald continued for that team. That is difficult, but they've tried to get the hashtag body clocks right as best as they could. I think that game is fascinating. I'd pick Jacksonville mostly because of the travel thing for Seattle, but I think those are two teams that are in a good position to make the playoffs this year, obviously based on their record. Two teams that are going to fight for their division crowns. I think that's a really fun matchup. I think that should have been the game of the week that Fox was promoting. One other game that I want to make sure to get to, because I think this is going to be interesting, especially if you are a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs or another AFC team. Bills-Falcons Monday Night Football. It's the first Monday night game. It'll be a 6:15 kickoff in Central Time. Bills at Falcons. Atlanta's not good, but they have so many weapons and a quarterback who at the very least is willing to just huck it, chuck it, that I think they could present some concerns to the Bills. And Atlanta's defense, which has been terrible for the better part of 2 decades, is not embarrassingly bad. Maybe they force a turnover. Maybe they can shut down some of those just kind of receivers for Buffalo. I would still pick the Bills. I don't have the spread in front of me for that game. I would take the Bills no matter what. But I think Atlanta can at least make that one interesting on Monday night. That's it for our look around the NFL. Coming up on the other side of this commercial break, we'll take a look at Chiefs-Lions and get to my keys to the game. That's coming up on 580 Sports Talk.
PW Topeka.
580 Sports Talk rolls on this Friday afternoon. Brendan Brzezinski here with you, wrapping things up today. Don't forget, coming up at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, just after 6, we got national and local news and all that to get to. We've got the 580 Preps Coaches Club, our Dan Lucero, talking to all the city coaches who are in action today around the city, along with the coaches of the game that he'll be calling tonight on the 580 Preps Game of the Week. Should be a really fun one. Seaman and Shawnee Heights, one of the best rivalries in all of Northeast Kansas, one of the best in Kansas high school football in general. Kickoff is set for 7 o'clock. Pre-game coverage will begin at 6:30 in earnest. And again, right at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, we've got the 580 Preps Coaches Club. It'll be Dan, Greg, and Spencer on the call. Spencer had a nice one last night for Highland Park against Atchison. Scott's getting a win. That team has been a major bugaboo for Jermaine Monroe's group since the nascent days of the Meadowlark Conference. So awesome for the Scots to pick up a big win, especially given what that program has been through in the last couple of weeks. To be off for a while, come back, win a game like that. Really, really good stuff. So shout out to Highland Park for the big win yesterday. Wanted to get to my final Chiefs thoughts before we wrap things up and get to the final word on 580 Sports Talk today. I know Dan went through his keys to the game, our general keys to the game, all the way back in the first segment of the show at the top of 3. But I wanted to expand a little bit on the 2 keys that I was bringing to the table for this week. Number 1, and it's the part of the game that concerns me the most, it's Chiefs defense versus Lions offense. And I'm not trying to indicate here that I think the Lions are invincible, because they're not. I mean, they're good. They're very good. In fact, I would argue right now they are playing all things together like the best team in the NFL right now. It's, well, certainly not the Chiefs. It's not the Eagles. God, we know that after that debacle last night for them against the Giants. No, right now the team that is playing the best football in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. That being said, they're not impenetrable. They are not unstoppable or anything like that. But after some of the lackluster moments and in some situations lackluster effort from the Chiefs on Monday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they have got to be great. I believe, and I think this is a fair comment to make. I don't think this is out of bounds by any means. I think the Chiefs need to be great defensively against the Lions to get this done. We'll get to Mahomes and the offense in a moment. I believe, without question, they are going to be great in this game. But I think the defense has to be great because of the way the Lions are playing, because of the various things they do that I think frustrate everybody they play. Now, one matchup that I do think is going to benefit the Chiefs is going to be Chris Jones against the interior of that offensive line for the Lions. If anyone on this team is listening to the outside noise, it's 95, okay? I'm certain of that. I'm not even being critical of that, but even though he deactivated all of his social media and whatnot this past weekend, he is hearing the noise about he's washed, he got the big contract and quit, he doesn't care. That comment about the contract is pretty stupid given the fact that he's been playing well ever since he got that contract until the last couple weeks, but that's neither here nor there. I think against a weakened, not weak all the way, but weakened relative to last year or the year before that, interior line of the Lions, I think this is a chance for Chris Jones to really step up and make some positive plays. I think it's an opportunity for him to get back in a groove, to remind people, hey, this is who I am. This is why I'm a fringe Hall of Famer, why I've helped lead this defense to being Super Bowl caliber numerous times in my career. I think that's a good matchup for the Chiefs. The rest of the operation, I've got some concerns. I really do. So my big first key to this game, again, as Dan mentioned at the top of the show, turnovers or takeaways in the case of the defense taking it away from the Detroit Lions offense. I've got concerns because of how well-oiled this Lions machine is, but what is the ultimate way to neutralize that or to level a playing field, even out a playing field, if you don't have the horses, you don't have the scheme, whatever, to keep up with a really good offense? Take the ball away. And that means you're going to take some risks, trying to punch out at the ball instead of maybe wrapping up for a tackle, or trying to break early and jump around and the ball goes over your head. I'm not expecting or hoping that some of those miscues could happen, but it is always the risk you take when you talk about needing to be extra aggressive going after the ball. I know the Chiefs are not the greatest takeaway team in the world. How many times over the last 5 years have we talked about that? But I think that could be huge in this game because I think the Chiefs are going to score a ton. I think, frankly, the Lions are going to score a ton one way or the other. If you can steal one, maybe even two possessions away from that Detroit team, suddenly I feel a whole lot better. I feel really good, in fact. Intercept Jared Goff, tip a pass, take it away, jump a route, force a fumble from Jahmyr Gibbs, whatever it ends up being. David Montgomery, I don't know, one of them. force a fumble from somebody. I don't care who it is. That would be massive for this Chiefs team. And I think they probably are going to need at least one, or I don't want to say they need at least one turnover. I think they need to at least win by a margin of one or more the turnover battle in this game. Because if you're going to give it away, you've got to match and overcome that on the other side. I don't think I would predict Mahomes is going to turn the ball over in this game, but I think the Chiefs need to win the turnover battle as kind of the general key in that sense. I keep talking about thinking the Chiefs offense is going to score and Patrick Mahomes. I know I alluded to that. This is my second key, though. Let your MVP, all-world, all-universe quarterback do his thing. Let him be great. I don't think outside of our sphere here in Northeast Kansas, in the especially greater Kansas City area or the Chiefs kingdom in and of itself, I think outside of those spheres, it's been kind of lost in the national discussion just how good Mahomes has been, because you get the meltdown on Monday Night Football, the island game with, when there's nothing else on and everybody is watching, and you see Chris Jones with the lackadaisical play at the end. Like, you sort of have the narrative nationally skewed by the way that game ended in the final score, and understandably so. And you look at the other games early in the year, the Charger game, that was the same thing. Island game, Friday night, first week of the year. They end up losing that game. Travis Kelce, as we know very well, not the same guy he has always been. And people love to just talk smack about him because he's got a famous fiance. The whole thing is such a mess. I don't think enough people grand scheme, and this isn't everybody. I was listening to a podcast on my way to work this morning talking about how good Patrick Mahomes has been. But guys, I really need to elucidate to you. Patrick Mahomes has been incredible. He's been phenomenal this year. Game in, game out. The occasional mistake has been made up for twice or three times over by magical stuff that, frankly, we have not seen with regularity for a couple of years. And it's why, even with the frustrating 2-3 start to the season, I do give credit to Mahomes, to Andy Reid. Maybe Matt Nagy deserves some too, because he's at least like in those meetings, even if he's just a hall monitor. But they have taken steps as an offense to evolve beyond the last 2 years, especially last year, that slog of we're going to be success rate merchants and we're not going to get anything more than the exact yardage we need at any given time. And these drives are going to be long. They're not going to be explosive. We're not going to throw the ball down the field. Our running game is not going to get us there. And we're just going to do barely enough every time to beat you. I was begging, as you remember, during the offseason for this team to flip that around, to push the ball a little bit more. I didn't need circa 2018 Chiefs versus Rams Monday Night Football, one of the greatest games ever played. I don't need that kind of offense week in, week out. Can you give me an offense that picks its spots at least a little bit more like 2022, which, as you've heard me say, I still think was the best or at least most impressive Super Bowl run or year in general for this era of Chiefs dynastic football? You give me something like that, and Mahomes has surpassed that. I mean, the rate at which he is throwing the ball down the field, average depth of target, number of throws, 20-plus yards down the field, it is beyond what I was even hoping for. So I give this franchise credit for that, taking those steps forward. And it's working! And the Chiefs don't even have their best wide receiver. Rashee Rice is still suspended. He's not even out there. They didn't have Xavier Worthy for a while, and he keeps making it work. He is elevating players around him. Tyquan Thornton looks like a completely different player from everything he was before getting to Kansas City. Hollywood Brown has not been completely useless, even though it felt that way in the final miracle drive attempt against Jacksonville. But Mahomes has been great. So I keep saying this. I'm lauding him with all this attention, and here is why. Let him be great in this game. And this dovetails a lot with what Dan was talking about when he was giving his keys to the game too. Be aggressive. Don't punt the ball on fourth down from the 48-yard line on the Detroit side of the field. All gas, no brakes. Go for it. I feel very similarly, with the specific caveat that your quarterback is playing out of his ever-loving mind right now. He is as good as he has ever been right now. Really, he is playing that well. So let him make plays. I hate it when teams take the ball out of their either hottest playmaker or their best playmaker's hand in big moments. If it's fourth down and anything under like 7 in plus territory, let him do his thing. Let Mahomes create. And if it doesn't work, you rode and died with the best player you've got, with the best player in the world. There is no shame in that. There is nothing to be upset about that. Even if doofuses on social media are complaining, oh, I would have punted there, I would have taken the points. No, man, you're playing maybe the best team in the NFL right now in the Detroit Lions. Let your superstar be a superstar. Make sure that when the lights are the brightest and the moment is biggest, you ride with number 15. That is what I am hoping for in this game. Because as long as he is the one you are trusting to make plays, you are going to have opportunities to make those plays. That is what I am hoping for. I want to see more greatness out of Patrick Mahomes, and I think we're going to get it in this game. Again, the Lions are not unbeatable. They're good, and it feels like their defense is catching up a little bit to how good their offense has been. And granted, they played the Bengals last week, but they've gotten guys banged up. They're not going to have Terry and Arnold. We know they're already thin in their cornerback room after they lost Ennis Rakestraw during the offseason. It's not a great secondary right now. Now, it's an opportunistic secondary for Detroit. That is something you have to keep in mind. But that being said, Kirby Joseph's been banged up, and he picks the ball off like crazy, but he's been banged up too. So all of this being said, Detroit is good, but as long as Patrick Mahomes is out there and playing like he has played through the first 5 games of the season, you have got a chance to win, and I think the Chiefs are going to need that in this game. I know I was the pessimistic one when we did game picks earlier on in the show. Dan picked a 1-point win. Spencer picked a 3-point win. I picked a low-scoring 4-point loss. I picked Lions 35, Chiefs 31. I don't feel good about it, to be completely honest with you. I'm not trying to rile anyone up. I'm not trying to do the sports radio hot take thing. I would hope you know that about me at this point. That's not me. That's not my game. I don't get down like that. It's essentially an emotional hedge, though, because I do think the Lions are playing really well. I think they're very high-powered on both sides of the ball, especially on offense right now. Goff's been playing well. He's been playing efficiently. If the Chiefs end up losing and I'll cover that spread, well, I was right, and I can gloat about being right. Chiefs do. They take care of business at home. They cover it. They win it. They knock off the Lions. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good because I will, as I've told you for years, for 8 years and plus now, if I'm wrong, but it works out well for our teams, hell yeah, I would love to be wrong every single time if it meant things worked out in a positive manner. I hope I'm wrong about this one. I'm a little bit too worried about the defense, though, so I will take the Lions in a close one. I'm begging you, Chiefs, please prove me wrong. Do you know how sick to my stomach, as an NFL owner of the Green Bay Packers, how sick it makes me to say nice things about the Detroit Lions? It's gross. It's awful. The rightful place in the food chain of life, just the life ecosystem of football and sports and the United States of America, the Lions are supposed to be at the bottom of the pile. It's the quote from Moneyball about, 50 feet of crap, and then at the bottom. Yeah, that's where the Lions belong. So it makes me sick to talk about them this way, but they are really good, and, well, I don't want to lie to you. So Chiefs need to be great. I'm a little bit worried about this defense. I'll pick the Lions. Hopefully I'm wrong, and we'll get a nice emotional hedge win on Sunday Night Football. We've got to get to one final break here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come on back and wrap things up with the final word.
ValleyBet.com, ValleyBet.com.
Ranchers, as you pregnancy check those cows this fall, you can now vaccinate against calf scours for next spring's calving season. With nasty weather, we all know how devastating calf scours can be. Take advantage of effective scour vaccines like ScourBoss and ScourGuard 4KC. Vaccinate the cow and let her vaccinate the calf via the colostrum milk. Contact Valley Vet Supply and let them help make sense of your scour prevention program. At valleyvet.com, you'll find exceptional value and a large selection of meds and more, shipped fast and free on most orders over $75. Find your ranching needs at valleyvet.com or shop their store in Marysville.
ValleyBet.com, ValleyBet.com, ValleyBet Supply.
Let Gingrich Structures bring your building ideas to life with the Midwest's top quality post frame buildings. From custom shops and garages to commercial storage and all things ag. Large or small, we do it all. Built exactly how you want it, with endless design options, premium materials, and a team that gets it done right. Your custom building is just a call away. That's Gingrich Structures, spelled GingerICHStructures.com.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote. Call 800-461-9096. 800-461-9096. 800-461-9096.
WIBW, Topeka.
One more thing.
In conclusion, you better wrap it up.
Final word time on 580 Sports Talk, wrapping things up and getting you ready for a busy sports-filled weekend. Final word for me, let's go to college football. Just spent a lot of time talking about the NFL and the Chiefs coming up on Sunday night. But a quick thought on both KU and K-State going into this weekend. K-State obviously has a big game against TCU. KU taking on one of the best teams in the country regardless of conference, and right now the class of the Big 12 in Texas Tech. I'll start with K-State because that one feels much more urgent. Like every game so far this season, I go into this matchup on Saturday not really feeling like K-State is outmatched by TCU. I mean, Josh Hoover's been playing well, but I don't think Sonny Dykes is a measurably better coach than Chris Kleiman. I don't think the talent on TCU is astronomically better or all that much better, period, than it is at K-State. But K-State has blasted itself in the foot with shotgun blast after shotgun blast all year. So many games that should have been flipped in the other direction that K-State has not been able to pull off. I am hopeful that K-State is able to figure this out, because if the Cats are not able to and fall to 2-5 on the year, that is going to make just getting to a bowl that much more difficult, as Spencer and Dan talked about earlier on this week when they mapped out what a bowl game could look like for K-State this year. To be eligible for a postseason game, you may need to win these toss-up games, which would have been tough even when we thought K-State was going to be really good at the start of the year. So that one, I think, has a lot of pressure on K-State. I hope they can get it done. If they want to go to the postseason, they better get this one done. Meanwhile, for KU, look, I don't think KU is going to win against Texas Tech. I think Tech just has too many bodies. That being said, I think KU has the right amount of toughness and moxie and creativity, especially on offense, to at least make this a battle. I wouldn't write this one off by any means. I thought originally that 14 and a half was probably a fair line. The more I've thought about it, I probably, if I was just setting it blindly, probably would have brought it down closer to 9 or 10 points. I think this is a good KU team. Kansas doesn't lose big in a lot of games these days, which is nice. A nice change from when I was in school. But I do think Tech's going to win, but I think KU is going to make this a good game. And I'll tell you what Scott Van Pelt said on SportsCenter on ESPN on Thursday night during his winter segment when he picked KU to at least cover the spread. You're giving me points and you're giving me Jalen Daniels. I'm taking that every day. I know it's going to be down in Lubbock. Those tortillas are going to be flying. Tech probably wins this game, but I think KU is going to put up quite a fight and is not going to seem out of place against the class of the Big 12. Coming up this weekend, all sorts of football coverage for you here on 580 WIBW and the Connoisseur Media Topeka family of stations. Tonight, we've got the 580 Preps Coaches Club starting at the top of the 6 o'clock hour here in just a few minutes. Then 6:30 pregame start time for Seaman versus Shawnee Heights, one of the best rivalries in Kansas high school football. Dan Lucero, Greg Akagi, Spencer Dupuis on the call of that one here on 580 WIBW. Tomorrow, 12:30 pregame start time for a 2:30 kickoff. K-State versus TCU. Huge game for the Cats again here on 580. Tomorrow at 1:30, we've got pregame start with a 2 o'clock kickoff as the Washburn Ichabods are back in action, ladies and gentlemen, taking on the Pittsburgh State Gorillas down in Southeast Kansas. Yours truly will be on the call of that game alongside Fletcher Terrell and Trenton Craxner over on Country 106.9. Then we've got 2 games coming your way on Sunday. First, from England, Broncos Jets, 8:15 pregame start time here on 580. And then, of course, Chiefs football, Sunday night football against the Detroit Lions. Pregame begins at 6 o'clock on the Chiefs Radio Network here on 580 WIBW. That's going to do it for me. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. For the rest of our crew, Spencer Dupuis, Dan Lucero, this has been 580 Sports Talk. We appreciate you joining us today. Stay tuned. The 580 Preps Coaches Club coming up at the top of the hour.
During this year's RV season, you've been making a list, things that weren't big enough to interrupt your camper adventures. But they need attention before you hit the road again.
Take your camper to the experts at Four Seasons RV to handle those things. Minor or major damage, paint, body, and roofs.
Call Four Seasons RV to schedule time to fix what's on your list and ask about their service specials.
Four Seasons RV, where the fun begins. KansasRV.com.
6 miles east of Abilene along I-70.
My name's Billy Segrist, and I had the pleasure of using interim hospice care for both my mom and my husband. Fred was about 6 months and maybe 4 months for my mom that needed care. When they started my husband, they thought he'd probably be a 1 or 2 year patient. And as it turned out, it went a lot faster than we had expected. But just knowing that I had them on board and I could call interim anytime and ask questions or have someone come out anytime I needed them made it really nice. I would strongly encourage, if you're thinking you're going to need some assistance, to call Interim Healthcare. They can deal with both home health as well as the hospice, and they're a great support group for you.
Interim Healthcare and Hospice. We improve people's lives.
We care, we're there. Interim Healthcare.
Hi, it's Andrew Hoiberg from Calcium Products. SO4 pelletized gypsum is the superior sulfur source that delivers the right amount of sulfur, perfectly matching plant needs for yield maximizing plant growth. SO4 consistently performs in trials, providing up to a 13 bushel increase on corn. Ask your agronomist about applying SO4 pelletized gypsum and learn more at calciumproducts.com.
Stay connected for news, sports, weather, and ag on the Voice of Kansas, FM 104.9, 580 AM, WIBW, Topeka.
Deadly Tennessee explosion.
Can I describe the building? There's nothing to describe. It's gone.
On day 10 of government shutdown,
reductions in the federal workforce have now begun.
Peace plan moving forward.
The Israeli army had withdrawn to an agreed-upon line still within Gaza.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. A deadly explosion at a munitions plant in Tennessee is said to have been felt miles away. It happened about 60 miles southwest of Nashville. Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis.
I can tell you right now that we're looking for 19 individuals.
And they are feared dead. CBS's Nicole Valdez near the scene.
Right now, there are a lot of questions, a lot of people here who are waiting for those answers. They are filled with emotion. You can tell as they sit here, they're filled with anxiety. They're hugging one another, just trying to make sense of what happened here.
The blast took place on the Accurate Energetic Systems campus. On this 10th day of the government shutdown, Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought says the Trump administration has started handing out layoff notices to federal workers. CBS's Natalie Brands